ESPN presented by Taco Bell and coming to you from Comerica Park on a beautiful evening here in Detroit as the Tigers look to sweep the Boston Red Sox, and that would mean a perfect 6-0 mark against the Red Sox on the season. They are led, of course, by two-time most valuable player Miguel Cabrera. David Ortiz and the Red Sox are scuffling again. They have lost 5 in a row. Can they turn it around tonight and salvage the final game of this series? The American League East finds the Red Sox in fourth right now, 9.5 back of the first place Blue Jays, but the Blue Jays lost again today, and everybody else is really struggling right now in the AL East. In the Central, the Tigers have won the last 2. They're now 3.5 up on the Indians, who also won today. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Detroit. Dan Schulman and John Kruk, glad you're with us tonight for Sunday Night Baseball. The Tigers 3 weeks ago were 27-12, had the best record in baseball. Then they lost 13 out of 17, but it didn't seem to rattle their first-year manager, Brad Ausmus. They have won the first 2 of this series. They've done very well against the Red Sox this year. So my question for you, Crucky, is what do you think of this team? How good is this team?
Well, right now, I think they're the second-best team in the American League behind the Oakland Athletics. And I think because they have this great consistency. Yes, they've had some recent struggles. But when you look at this pitching staff, Dan, there's not one reason to believe that they're not going to win this Central Division again this year. They got 5 really good starting pitchers, 2 great ones, and 1 going tonight, Anibal Sanchez, that might be the best of all of them.
Yeah, Verlander, Scherzer, obviously they've got Cy Youngs, they've got big names and great credentials, but Anibal Sanchez won the ERA title last year in the American League. He's on the mound tonight, and with more, here's Buster Olney.
Dan, Anibal Sanchez has thrown 15 1/3 innings this season and allowed exactly 0 home runs. Opponents are hitting 170 against him. The only 2 pitchers in all of baseball with better numbers than that, Chris Sale and Johnny Cueto. When I asked Boston manager John Farrell about Sanchez earlier today, he said, all I know is that when we face him, there are a lot of zeros and a lot of guys coming back to the dugout after their at-bats. Dan?
All right, Buster, thank you. The Red Sox are looking for some good news. As mentioned, they have lost 5 in a row. One of the reasons, not the only reason, but one of the reasons is injuries. Some good news for them. Mike Napoli is active and in the lineup.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big help, not only to the Red Sox offense, but for David Ortiz. He's been struggling since Napoli went on the disabled list. But this adds another punch to this offense that has been very anemic this year. With Brock Holt now manning the leadoff spot, we'll see how long that lasts. But with Mike Napoli now behind Ortiz, hopefully this offense, if you're a Red Sox fan, gets going.
Just about ready for baseball here in Detroit. John Lackey on the mound for the Red Sox. As mentioned, Anibal Sanchez on the mound for the Tigers tonight here in Detroit. Also coming up tonight, Justin Verlander will join us live from the dugout. We'll visit with Hall of Famer Al Kaline, and Barry Larkin will bring you his web gems of the day. The Red Sox, the Tigers, next. Boston Red Sox, and what an unusual run they've had. A 10-game losing streak, then a 7-game winning streak, now on a 5-game losing streak as they try to turn it around here in the final game of the series against the Tigers. A check of the Red Sox lineup tonight, brought to you by Taco Bell. Brock Holt is the leadoff hitter. He's in left field tonight. Xander Bogaerts moved up in the lineup, moved to third base, and on a tear the last few weeks, and overall on the season, the 4th best on-base percentage in the American League.
And everyone talks about his maturity for such a young man. You saw what he did last year in the World Series. I think this is a great place for him to hit the number 2 spot in the lineup. I think he's a guy that when he feels most important to the team, move him up in the lineup, he's going to produce.
Brad Ausmus says that Anibal Sanchez may have more weapons than any other pitcher on his staff. And let's keep in mind they've got Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander on the staff.
And I think it's not the Verlander, Scherzer fastball that those two possess, but it's mid-90s. And he has a great changeup, but he throws 5 pitches, Dan. And when Brad Ausmus said, as a catcher, you'd love to catch a guy like this because you can't make a mistake because all his pitches are above average.
He has pitched brilliantly since coming off the DL, had a blister problem, actually made his return to active duty 3 weeks ago tonight when we had Sanchez and the Tigers against the Red Sox on Sunday Night Baseball. Overall 2-2 with an ERA of 2.15. He was the American League leader in ERA a year ago at 2.57. Leading it off for the Red Sox, a guy that John Farrell says they need in the lineup and they need in the leadoff spot. So Brock Holt, kind of an afterthought at the beginning of the season, maybe a utility guy, now has become a mainstay, so much so they're throwing him out in left field tonight just to keep him in the lineup. And a strike taken to get it underway. Adam Hamari is the home plate umpire tonight. Holt, a former Pirate, is hitting .318 on the season, and it sounds like he's going to be the leadoff hitter until further notice, until maybe he slows down. If he slows down, he hits lefties as well as righties. He had a 4 double game a week ago, and they've moved him from third to first to left just to keep him in the lineup.
Yeah, and when they had to send him down earlier in the season, they said, John Farrell told us today that when he went down upset, that he thought he should have stayed up here, and he went down and produced in AAA, tearing the cover off the ball. Now you bring him up, you throw him in the lineup, and now he's producing for you. And it seems to me like he has sort of a Dustin Pedroia type mentality.
Speed pitch fouled off at the plate.
See that this is what Anibal Sanchez possesses, great movement on his pitches, and Brock Holt, who stands on top of home plate, just fouled 2 balls off his front foot. He's wearing a little guard on his foot, but he might be wanting to get that whole shin thing going here pretty soon. Look how close he is to the plate.
And the pitch is high, 1 ball, 2 strikes on a hold with Bogaerts and Pedroia to follow. And missing away is Sanchez, 2-2. Sanchez has walked only 15 batters in 50 1/3. He has struck out 46, and he's holding the opposition to a 170 batting average on the season. Picked up a couple of years ago in a deal with the Marlins. And Holt looks like he's seeing the ball pretty well right now because Sanchez has given him the whole arsenal.
Yeah, and that's when you know a guy's really feeling good about himself up in the batter's box, when with 2 strikes, and he's just taking those pitches like it's a 2-0 pitch.
And a swing and a ground ball out to Ian Kinsler for the first out of the ball game. So if nothing else, Holt, as the leadoff hitter, saw a lot of pitches. And that'll bring up Xander Bogaerts, really coming into his own in recent weeks, closing in on a .300 average, getting on base like crazy. And look at these numbers over the last 3 weeks or so, Crucky. I mean, that's big time production.
Yeah, when all the talk started about Stephen Drew possibly coming back to the Red Sox, and Xander Bogaerts decided, you know what, I'm going to show everyone who's the better of the 2 players, and he's really producing right now, and had just a big boost to them, not only defensively with Stephen Drew at shortstop, but with Bogaerts at third, a position that really they were getting not a lot from at the start of the season.
And a strike. Will Middlebrooks is on the DL with a finger injury, probably still a couple of weeks away. Bogarts at third, Drew at short. The Red Sox 27-34 on the season, 9.5 back in the American League East. As that pitch runs down and in. Good movement on that fastball, and it's a ball and a strike.
Well, if you're looking for something straight from Anibal Sanchez, good luck. Because it ain't happening. Everything moves one way or another. Cut it, sink it, change up both sides of the plate.
Just inside. This was seen obviously as one of the strengths of the Tigers coming into the season, led by Scherzer, Verlander, Sanchez. Rick Porcello got off to a great start this year, and with the trade of Doug Fister, Drew Smyly in the rotation on a full-time basis this year. And other than that rough stretch that maybe they're just now coming out of, the starting pitching has indeed been terrific for the Tigers this season.
Well, and there's no reason to believe why it wouldn't have been. And, you know, with what Rick Porcello's done, coming into the season, I would have to think he was a question mark. Porcello, Drew Smyly, another question mark. Both guys have pitched great this year.
Again, a lot of movement, but it takes it right down and out of the strike zone. And another deep count here early in this game.
I think if Anibal Sanchez ever threw anything straight, it would fool the hitter so bad they wouldn't know what to do.
And a fly ball hit high and deep down the left field line. Into the corner goes Davis. And it is a foul ball. Sanchez has not allowed a home run on the season, but Bogarts gave that one a ride down the line.
Just a little bit out in front of that breaking ball. Couldn't keep it fair. This is one he might want to come in with that little two-seamer running in on his hands.
Shakes off Avila a couple of times, and then Bogarts requests time. Remember, the hitter just can't say time. The hitter has to ask the umpire for time. It has to be granted by the umpire. And Sanchez was already starting into his windup.
Just because you put your hand up doesn't mean you get it.
And he got him with a breaking ball.
This is part of the arsenal that Anibal Sanchez possesses. 3-2 pitch, and he throws a young man, a 21-year-old, a breaking ball, which I'm pretty sure you're not expecting 3-2. Beautiful rotation, and it wasn't the location that got Bogarts. It was the fact that it was the change of speed from fastball to breaking ball. He was out in front of it.
So 2 down, nobody on, and a strike taken by Dustin Pedroia. It is third home run of the season last night. Remember, had the wrist injury earlier in the year, had a cortisone shot, and is back playing every day. 19 doubles, as you can see. That's the good news. The overall slugging percentage down for Pedroia, especially from some of his best years, 3, 4, 5 years ago.
It seems like every year he gets some sort of, like last year he had the thumb injury, and then this year you mentioned he's having to get a shot in his wrist. And
how important are your hands? Are your hands being healthy to allow you to hit?
It's vital. It's the most important thing. If anything, and you see the numbers there that show that his slugging percentage has dropped every year since 2010. But if you don't have hands, you know, you're doing everything you can to get a base hit when you have a wrist injury or a thumb injury, much less worrying about trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark.
2-2, and again, you talked about Sanchez not being able to throw a ball straight. Look at how Avila lunged for that one. That one moving away from the right-handed hitter.
2-1 fastball that just cut on him, and I'm sure that's the chore of the only difficult thing about catching him is it going to cut or is it going to sink?
Well, if nothing else, even if they go in order here this inning, the Red Sox have forced Sanchez to throw 19, and with a 20th upcoming, a fair number of pitches here in the first inning. David Ortiz waiting on deck, hoping for an opportunity here in the first.
And if you're John Farrell, you hope that the bottom of the order doesn't make up for that high pitch count by going quickly. That's been a struggle for the Red Sox this year, anywhere from 6, 7, 8, 9.
And the is over. A couple of strikeouts in the inning for Sanchez. We'll go to the bottom of the first and get a look at the game's greatest hitter. Miguel Cabrera will come up this half inning. Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell, is brought to you by Chevrolet. Find new roads and Deliver Us from Evil in theaters July 2nd. Bottom of the first at Comerica Park in Detroit. Dan Schulman, John Kruk, Buster Olney. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. The Tigers and the Red Sox, with the Tigers looking for a sweep. And a look at the Detroit lineup, presented by Taco Bell. Speed at the top, Davis, Kinsler, power in the middle, Cabrera, Martinez, and Nick Castellanos is on a tear. 3 consecutive 3-hit games, helping to add a little bit of length to that lineup. That's something they've needed.
Yeah, huge piece to this puzzle for the Detroit Tigers is lengthening that lineup once you get past Torrey Hunter in the 5th spot. And Castellanos, right? I talked to Wally Joyner, the hitting coach for the Tigers last night. He said it seems like for the last week, every time you look up, he's got 3 hits. He said he's just been outstanding.
Here's Rajay Davis to face John Lackey.
And this Tigers team has a little bit different approach to hitting than the Boston Red Sox do. They come out swinging.
And Lackey will be in the strike zone. Only 16 walks in 79 2/3. Second year back from the Tommy John surgery. And Lackey in 2013 and now in 14 in better shape, healthier, throwing hard, successful. But there are some big numbers for some Tiger hitters against John Lackey. Rajay Davis among them. Get a load of this. Davis, 12 for 31. Kinsler, 16 for 38. Cabrera, 6 for 15, 2 homers. Martinez, 12 for 30. Huge numbers for the top 4 hitters against Lackey. It'll carry out to center. Bradley will make the catch. Davis hit it hard, but it's an out.
You don't think John Lackey doesn't know that coming in? He knows what the deal is, but he knows how he has to be precise with every pitch to the first 4 guys in his batting order, because if they get on base, especially Rajay Davis and Ian Kinsler in front of Cabrera and Martinez, you have to figure the Tigers are going to score at least 1 that inning.
Now Kinsler. And boy, everywhere you turn in this city, you hear people talking about what a difference Ian Kinsler has made to the Tigers. Whether they hit him 1 or 2, the defense he brings at second, the speed he has added. And he's up there swinging at the first pitch. Fly ball, right center field. Who wants it? It'll be Nava. 2 down. Bringing up Miguel Cabrera. Last night, 3 for 4, 2 doubles, a single, an RBI. He has won 3 consecutive batting titles, 2 consecutive MVPs, won the Triple Crown 2 years ago, and he's having another great season this year.
Pretty fun job. We get to watch the best hitter on the planet, isn't it?
He's 11 for 19 against the Red Sox this year.
That'll work. The thing that's outstanding about him, talking to Wally Joyner, he said most hitters played 17 inches. His is 24. He said he can extend the strike zone. He compared it to 3 baseballs on the outside corner and 3 baseballs on the inside corner and hit them all hard.
You see guys try to jam him so he can't get his arms extended. You see guys try to get him chase, but he can reach that pitch and hit it hard the other way. Borderline pitch goes Cabrera's way. 3 balls and a strike.
And here's the danger right here. If you're John Lackey, you think to yourself, okay, 3-1. If I throw something down and away, make him hit it the other way, I've got a chance of getting him out. But he's liable to give a souvenir to a fan if he keeps it down there.
Backhanded at third by Bogart. Skips it across and the tag applied to win the inning. The Tigers, like the Red Sox, go in order. No score at the end of 1 here in Detroit with David Ortiz to lead it off for the Red Sox when we come back. As we welcome you back, second inning here on Sunday Night Baseball. No score between the Red Sox and Tigers, and David Ortiz will lead it off for Boston. And that means one thing and one thing only: the shift is on. Ortiz sees it all the time. 13 home runs, hit one on Thursday, had a 2-run double last night. Just for fun, or actually thinking about pushing one there for a base hit?
He's pushed some down that left field line for a double, but here's what the great thing. Castellanos right there to third baseman is in shallow right. He took grounders from there in between innings to get used to this shorter throw he has to make as opposed to throwing from third base.
Ball and a strike on Ortiz, and you can see why they play him to pull. The numbers suggest they should. Now, a lot of big, strong left-handed batters They hit it the other way a lot in the air, but on the ground is when they really pull it. And that's very common for a lot of left-handed power hitters, which is why you see teams play to pull, put the shift on the infield. But in some cases, although not the case here tonight, in some cases you'll even see the outfield play the other way when the shift is on the infield.
Yeah, and that's, with David Ortiz, he's basically a pull hitter who can, but he has that ability to hit the ball the other way. And we have seen him lay down a bunt, down the third base line for a double. And I think in a situation when he's struggling, especially leading off an inning, I like the thought that he put into that for the first swing. I don't think he had any designs to bunt it. I think he just wanted to see a pitch.
High in the air to very shallow center field. And Austin Jackson is in to make the catch, one down. Now Mike Napoli is back, and some memories for Red Sox fans from the playoffs a year ago at Game 3 of the ALCS against the Tigers. A home run off Justin Verlander. Then in Game 5, a 460-foot home run in this ballpark to dead center off Anibal Sanchez. The Red Sox defeating the Tigers in 6 and then going on to win the World Series, of course. And a healthy Napoli, if indeed the finger is healed and he can get back to doing what he does, as you mentioned, helps the Red Sox, helps Ortiz. When they're all healthy, Pedroia, Ortiz, Napoli, okay, now you got something. But if Pedroia, he had the wrist problem earlier, Napoli was out for a couple of weeks. So teams really pitching around Ortiz a lot. Yeah,
and that's the thing when David Ortiz has struggled since Napoli's been out of the lineup, and he might not consciously think, I have to carry this team, but subconsciously it's in there. And he understands what their lineup's about. He understands there's not a lot of power in it this year, and he's the main power source. So he might have been pressing with Napoli out. Hopefully, if you're a Red Sox fan, this will get him to relax, and if Napoli can get a couple hits here and there to get started. Because remember, he didn't have any minor league rehab. He hit off Clay Buchholz this afternoon, apparently, and deemed himself ready to hit Anibal Sanchez, which is a little different hitter, a pitcher than Clay Buchholz in a simulated game.
This is not simulated. You saw the long home run drought, and that is at least in part due to the finger injury. Napoli was off to a good start this year, missed a couple of days after the finger was dislocated, then played through it for a couple of weeks, but was unable to generate much power. 3-1 off speed.
And that's taking the advantage of a guy who hasn't seen live pitching in 2 weeks, except for this afternoon. And 3-1, he's setting dead red. He's looking middle in. He's going to try to hit this thing, up in the left field seat. You see the spinner right there, a little slider, and Napoli way out in front of it, and pulling off very nicely too, Dan.
3-2 on the way. Got another slider. This one a bit of a hanger, and Napoli fouled it back.
That's the thing when you haven't faced major league pitching for a couple weeks or 15 days like Mike Napoli hasn't. You'll time a fastball quickly. It's the breaking stuff that you're going to struggle with, first with recognition and second with the timing of that breaking ball. And you see Sanchez right there, 3-1 and 3-2, throwing a breaking ball to him.
And another deep count. And Boston hitters doing what Boston hitters often do, especially when they're going well in the last couple of years. A lot of deep counts, fouling pitches off. 32 pitches thrown by Sanchez. This is the 5th batter he's faced. And there will be another.
Well, they definitely make you work, and you're not going to see a lot of complete games against the Red Sox when they have this lineup in the game. And again, now you have to continue this on with the lower part of the batting order. Can the guys hitting after A.J. Brzezinski, Nava, Drew, and Bradley Jr., can they get Sanchez to have a higher pitch count?
And Napoli works the walk. Be sure to catch more baseball tomorrow night here on ESPN. Yasiel Puig and the Dodgers taking on the Cincinnati Reds at 7 Eastern time. Then on the Wednesday, it'll be the Red Sox and the Orioles in an AL East matchup that's also at 7 Eastern. 1 week from tonight, we will be at Turner Field in Atlanta. Mike Trout and the Angels taking on the Atlanta Braves. All games are also available on Watch ESPN. The Angels won again today. They defeated the White Sox 4-2, sweeping that series after that huge come-from-behind win yesterday, sparked by the Trout grand slam. Josh Hamilton drove in 3 today for the Angels.
Jason Hayward's hitting for some power. Freddie Freeman, of course, is always going to be Freddie Freeman, a clutch run producer. Trout, Pujols, Hamilton. How we looking?
It's pretty good.
Not going to be bad.
Runner at first, 1 out, no score, top second, and the 0-1 to A.J. Pierzynski. Did he check or did he go? He went.
Here's the one guy in the lineup, Dan, that hasn't quite bought into this. Let's see, 10 pitches per at bat type of deal. 50% of the pitches thrown, leads the major leagues, and well, he's 2 for 2 already today, so that average is going up. He might take this one though. There you go. And a television critic apparently, but when they're not playing in the Sunday game.
Always enjoy getting AJ's text to you during the game to critique our broadcasting ability.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, he's done a little work in TV himself, right? So
yeah, he's the master of the negative, which is kind of reminds us of our researcher over there.
1-2. And he slashes it foul off to the left. Been a durable guy, though. I mean, playing a position where you get banged up. Ask Alex Avila behind the plate right now. We were talking to Brad Ausmus about that. Avila got hit by 2 backswings on Friday. Gets hit by a ton of foul tips, and Pierzynski's been at this a long time, but still a frontline catcher.
It still puts up some pretty good offensive numbers for, well, let's call it what it is, an old man as far as the catchers go. There you go. That just proves it right there. I love that.
How about 39 pitches with 1 out in the second inning? And Sanchez is throwing strikes, changing speeds. I mean, he's doing his thing here, but the Red Sox are just fouling off a ton of pitches.
Yeah, and he's gotten ahead in counts where they fought back to 2-2, 3-2. Bogarts, Ortiz both had high counts and 3-2 counts.
And you may have been able to hear Pierzynski not so happy with the end result of that at bat as he hits a lazy fly ball into right field for out number 2. So 2 down in the inning. That'll bring up Daniel Nava in right field tonight with Holt out and left. Last year, Red Sox outfielders, whoever they may have been, Ellsbury and Nava and Gomes, they put up huge numbers, but they lost Jacoby Ellsbury in the offseason. Now this year, Jackie Bradley getting more playing time. Grady Sizemore is a member of the Red Sox. Nava started off so poorly, he wound up in the minors for a while after hitting .303 last year. Victorino's been hurt twice on the DL again right now for the Red Sox. So the Red Sox outfield has gone from one of the best in baseball offensively last year to one of the worst in baseball this year.
The perfect storm last year with Nava, Johnny Gomes in a platoon till Nava said, I'm going to take this job and run with it, like you said, hitting over 300, manning the leadoff spot for the Boston Red Sox. And sometimes when you wish for that perfect storm again, it doesn't happen. And that's not, they lose Ellsbury, Jackie Bradley Jr. They were hoping he was ready. They didn't know if he was, hoping. He's struggling offensively. Daniel Nava, like you said, they had to send him down. And so now we have to, not only do we have to find some outfielders who can hit, we have to find a leadoff hitter, which they think they found in Brock Holt. And they're hoping that Nava can be a little more consistent with the offense. Had a few hits last night and in yesterday's game. But Grady Sizemore, they were hoping perfect storm. Can he play after 2 years missing? He struggled. He has struggled all year, and this is what they're hoping on right now, is Daniel Nava coming out of this thing and getting what he had last year and trying to get back to that.
Well, if Holt hits and plays the outfield and Victorino gets healthy, then they've got 6 outfielders somehow to try to figure out if any of them can get hot and who deserves to be in the lineup. Nava flies out, inning over to the bottom of the second. One of the most dangerous hitters in baseball, Victor Martinez, to lead it off when we come back. Here in Detroit, drawing over 3 million each of the last 2 years, had 39,000 plus Friday, had a sellout last night, over 43,000. Another big crowd tonight in the finale of this series, as Victor Martinez takes a strike, second in the American League in hitting at .329, entering play today, and maybe even more remarkably, 14 home runs and 15 strikeouts this year. Chopper out to short. Stephen Drew, one down. One of the issues for the Tigers offensively, it's not been Kinsler and Cabrera and Martinez. It's been the drop-off, Crucky, at times from 1 through 4 to 5 through 9. We talked about Castellanos getting hot. Torrey Hunter's in the 5 spot right now, but you can look at the OPS of the 1 through 4 and the OPS of the 5 through 9. The biggest difference in baseball.
Yeah, but these numbers are fantastic, and yes, it tells a story, but you have to remember who 2 of those first 4 guys are, and Cabrera and Victor Martinez. So those OPS numbers seem to get elevated when those 2 gentlemen are part of that equation.
Well, Torrey Hunter has hit second, and Torrey Hunter has hit 5th, and a lot of it depends on if Rajay Davis is in the lineup. If Davis is in, and especially if he's got good numbers against that night's pitcher, he leads off. Kinsler second, Hunter 5th. If Davis is not in, Kinsler leads off, and then Hunter probably hits second, as he has gone on 3 pitches. And then it's up to guys like Jackson, Avila, Castellanos to really lengthen the lineup.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You were counting on a couple young kids right now. Castellanos is a rookie. Suarez is a rookie also, but there's going to be struggles starting out for young players. Not many guys are Mike Trout that just, once they got to the big leagues, they just took off and and became, the best all-around player in baseball within a year. But he's starting to figure it out. Castellanos is. I just think it's fascinating that Lackey's thrown 16 pitches, and Anibal Sanchez has thrown 66 already. We're only in the second inning.
A huge difference, kind of the game within the game here.
It's the offensive approach by two teams.
Yep.
If he throws a fastball first pitch, I'm hacking at it, or second or third.
Lackey 17 pitches, 13 strikes, 4 balls. 1 pitch away potentially from ending the second inning. An 0-2 count on Castellanos.
Well, that's where it's misleading too. Torrey Hunter swung at a ball to strike out. Castellanos right there just swung at a pitch up in the strike zone that wouldn't have been a strike for strike 2. But that's smart pitching by John Lackey, knowing that how aggressive this team is and using it against them.
Lackey faced the Tigers earlier in the season, May the 17th, and gave up 6 runs, 5 earned in 5 1/3 on 9 hits. But overall, he has had a good year. He is 6-4 with a 3.28 ERA. This is his 13th start. In his career, 144 wins and 111 losses. Just missed.
Well, I think 2 guys wanted that one really bad. A.J. Brzezinski and John Lackey. That looked like a pretty good pitch. Go back to that pitch or elevate. See if the young rookie will chase something.
Went back to that pitch, but kind of missed inside. Actually didn't hit the spot. Got it right in on the hands of Castellanos. And that one wound up in the first base dugout. I guess one of Detroit's finest probably had to get out of the way of that pitch.
Not a good guy to pick on.
No,
I don't think.
Ground ball to the left side for Bogaerts to end the inning. Through 2, no score. We will visit with Justin Verlander live from the Tigers dugout when we come back. John Crockett and Buster Olney. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. Top of the third, no score between the Red Sox and the Tigers as Stephen Drew leads it off. And takes a pitch outside for ball one from Anibal Sanchez. Neither team with a hit through 2 innings tonight. The only base runner is a 1-out walk to Mike Napoli in the second. Sanchez, as you can see, has thrown 44, now 45 pitches already as we welcome in from the Tigers' third base dugout, Justin Verlander joining us on one of his off days. Thanks for the time, Justin.
No problem, guys.
We're enjoying watching Anibal Sanchez. Brad Ausmus talked about all the weapons that he has, all the different pitches that he's got. What do you like when you watch Sanchez pitch?
Just what you touched on, all of his pitches. You know, it seems like he's got 17 different pitches when he's out there. He does everything, different speeds, different, up, down. It's fun to watch.
Well, we're going to show you some of his out pitches. I think you've got a monitor down there. Why don't you give us a little bit of a critique here?
Well, there's the slider. It's filthy. Fastball down and away, paint. And then that one right there, we call that one the butterfly. He's got 2 different changeups. He throws one 88, 89, 90, and he throws one out of nowhere. It's like 70 miles an hour. We call it the butterfly just because it floats up there. Every time he throws it, you can probably pan to me and Scherzer in the dugout, and we're sitting here making butterfly signs.
Now, how does he do that? Just a different grip to slow it down? Or?
I have no idea how he does that. We've all asked him how. I got no clue.
So what do you call your changeup?
A changeup.
I hope they don't hit it.
Yeah.
There's Jackie Bradley Jr. with a base hit through the right side. Well, speaking as an outsider, we always love coming here and watching this team play in this ballpark, and you always have such great crowds. You've got such great fan support. Can you talk a little bit about what it's like drawing 3 million fans and play in front of these people all the time?
Yeah, it seems like every year since I've been here, we've drawn 3 million. The support that this community gives us is outstanding, night in, night out. It doesn't matter whether class is in session or out. It seems like they fill up the ballpark every night, and it's just a great atmosphere to be a part of and play in front of. And we play extremely well at home, and I think that has a lot to do with our fans.
Yeah, Justin, a lot of these fans come out to watch the greatest hitter in the world perform on a daily basis. If you were pitching to him, how would you pitch him?
Carefully. It seems like I've seen him hit everything since I've been here. The one thing that sticks out to me, I remember last year, I think it was against Phil Hughes. He took a fastball that was a foot off the plate inside in his batter's box and hit a home run. You just don't see guys do that. It's unbelievable. And on the nightly basis, it seems like he does something that makes everybody's jaw drop and just go, wow.
And he can hit it as hard to the opposite field as other big, strong guys can hit it to the pull side.
That's what makes him so special. He doesn't have to try to do too much with the fastball. Even if he gets in a hitter's count, he's still able to just take the fastball, and it seems like he just flicks it over the right field wall. And if he gets a hanging off speed pitch, that's when he does damage to left field.
No score, top of the third. Bradley with good speed at first for the Red Sox draws a throw. What's he like in the clubhouse, Justin? You hear he's just kind of a big, fun-loving teddy bear.
He is. He's great, man. He's really funny, and I think he's starting to get a little bit more comfortable in front of the camera. He's starting to show his personality a lot, and that's great especially for the national audience that's not around Detroit as much and doesn't get to see him as often. But he's great. You watch him play the game of baseball, and you can just see him out there having fun. You watch him at first base, and he's just legitimately enjoying playing this game that he loves.
3 batting titles in a row and a couple MVPs in a row, and a triple crown will probably make you a little more happy about
pretty easy
life.
to enjoy. Yeah.
But there's the other side of him too, the work hard at his craft that we don't see, that a lot of people don't see as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I like talking to Alex about his off-season workouts. They work out together down in Miami, and Alex says he'll go the first month and not work out, and all of a sudden he comes in and is throwing around every weight in the whole gym, and he's just naturally strong.
Brock Holt with another hit after 2 last night, so up to second goes Bradley, first and second with a 1-out for the Red Sox here in the third as we continue to be joined by Justin Verlander from the Tigers dugout. Well, Xander Bogaerts steps in. I don't know how often you might have faced him, Justin, a young guy, but obviously a very talented guy. What's the game plan against a Bogaerts?
Yeah, absolutely. He's extremely talented, hits the fastball well. Obviously right now you're trying to get a double play, so something down and in or slider off the plate that he'll reach for and roll over is what you're looking for.
Justin, when you're facing a team like the Red Sox, we see Anibal Sanchez already at 50 pitches with only 1 out in the third inning. Is that one of the issues you have? consciously go into that game thinking I have to throw strikes to these guys?
You can't really think that way. You just got to go out there and make your pitches, and hopefully you have some quick innings along the way. But you know, these guys have a lot of professional hitters, and they tend to work the count. That's one of the things that they do. So you can't give in. You can't worry about pitch count. You got to get outs.
Did it surprise you last night when Pedroia jumped on a Max Scherzer first pitch fastball, which he rarely ever does?
Yeah, that's kind of one of those rare things where the numbers say he doesn't really jump on first pitch too often, but you know, you groove one in there and he does. It's just kind of bad timing.
1 to Bogaerts. And again, great movement. I mean, you know it, Justin. I don't know how easily you can see it from your vantage point, but that pitch looks like it's going to be right over the heart of the plate, and it winds up 3 inches off the inside corner.
Yeah, I couldn't see it, but I saw the swing. It was pretty good.
Rookie, here it is on replay.
Yeah, that's just not fair. Yeah. I mean, you're thinking fastball down the middle. You're probably surprised that he would throw something down the middle, and that's why the surprise, because it doesn't end up there.
Series of signs from Avila. Big pitch here. Now Sanchez will step off. Bradley at second, Holt at first. No score. The Red Sox batting in the third. How much goes on between you and Alex Avila, or any of the pitchers, Justin and Alex Avila, in terms of this is the pitch I want to throw right now? Ultimately, who wins that argument most of the time?
Well, the pitcher does. You know, anything with conviction is better than even the right pitch without it. You know, so sometimes you'll see the pitcher and catcher, if they're not on the same page, the pitcher will call the catcher out, and that's usually what's going on, is they're talking about it, talking it over on the mound.
Check swing by Bogaerts. 2 balls and 2 strikes. On deck, Dustin Pedroia. Behind him, David Ortiz, as the Red Sox look to get started early here tonight. How well have you gotten to know Pedroia over the years?
We actually played together on Team USA in college. He's a great teammate, good guy. The kind of guy you don't like to play against, which is one of the best things you can say about somebody in baseball.
If only he had some confidence in his own abilities.
Oh, yeah, right.
He's waiting on deck right now. 2-2 to Bogaerts, and it's fouled off. A good at bat here by Xander Bogaerts.
On another high pitch count at bat, too, for Anibal Sanchez.
Yeah, it's one of those things you can't give in right now, though. I mean, this could very well be the ball game, so you can't worry about pitch count at this point.
Yeah, he looks like he's trying to jam him with the 2-seamer running in on him, like he wants to get a ground ball to third, and then he throws, of course, the changeup right there, hoping to get a roll over and get this double play so he can get out of this inning.
Might see the butterfly right here.
74.
Oh. We did. You're right, but he missed low with it.
Justin, did you see the pitch?
Yeah.
It cut. How do you cut a changeup? Watch his pitch cut. Look at that.
I have no clue.
Now, does Avila have a different sign for the regular changeup and fly?
I think he just throws it whenever he feels like it. I think as long as Alex knows something slower is coming, he's all right.
And he misses low with a fastball, and you can see Sanchez not happy with himself. The walk has loaded the bases. He's out in front 0-2 and lost him, and that'll get a visit to the mound from Jeff Jones, the pitching coach. What's likely to be discussed here? What's going on here, Justin?
They'll probably talk about how they want to attack Dustin right here, and you know, especially first pitch, what they want to do, and then going forward from there. And you know, Jeff will give you a little tap and say it's good they'll play.
What's the funniest conversation you've ever had from the pitching coach when he's come out?
The one where the pitching coach just comes out and doesn't really say anything at all. Just comes out and looks at you and, hey, I'm just giving you a breather.
Now, yesterday, a funny situation in the game in the 9th inning when Xander Bogaerts and Castellanos ran over to right field for Ortiz, and Bogaerts went to third, and Joe Nathan tried to chase him down. And Brad Ausmus said, look, I didn't want to challenge that play because we kind of knew he was safe. I was just doing it to give Joe a rest.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he was saying in the dugout, too. Let's just give Joe a breather right here.
Yeah. Joe almost caught him. That's pretty good for an older fella.
Pretty swift of foot right there.
Sanchez will work from the windup. Bases loaded, 1 out. And the breaking ball's in the dirt for ball 1. Even after all the years that a guy like Sanchez has been around, Justin, or the number of years you've been around, does your pulse rate go up a little bit in situations like this?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you're kind of feeling the adrenaline right now, and knowing it's a huge spot, and you got to get an out somehow, some way.
You guys are strikeout pitchers, but in this situation, bases loaded, 1 out. Pedroia, Ortiz. If you come out of this with only giving up 1 run, pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. You give up sac fly right here, and hopefully limit the damage to 1 run.
Throw comes into second. And in to score on the play is Bradley on the sac fly by Pedroia. 1-0 Red Sox.
You're never thinking that, though, when you're out there. You're thinking, let me get a double play, and then you get 2 strikes, and you're thinking, okay, let me get a strikeout. You're never thinking, let me give up 1 run.
Now David Ortiz hit a fly ball to center. What's your, well, I don't know if you want to tell us your game plan because you'll be facing him, but what comes to mind when David Ortiz steps into the box?
Well, there really is no one single game plan. You got to mix everything up. If you continue to pitch him the same way, he's going to make an adjustment, and he's going to make it in a hurry and possibly do damage. So you just got to mix everything up, try to keep him off balance.
He's come into this series against you guys struggling a little bit offensively. You guys sense that?
You do and you don't. It's still David Ortiz. Even if he's struggling, he steps in the batter's box, and you know who's in there, and you know his career numbers, and things can turn at any point.
13 home runs, 35 RBIs on the season, and 18 home runs in 51 games in this ballpark. This is a hard ballpark to hit the ball out of.
Maybe it's that necklace. You see that thing? Woo. There's some iron in that thing, man.
Ooh. He's a big boy. I think he can carry the weight.
That's the regular changeup there, not the butterfly. Down and away at 87. Big moment here. 1-0 Red Sox. 2 on, 2 out. Ortiz and Sanchez.
It's only what? How many games does the Red Sox play here? Not in this division. What's
it's
3?
18 home runs in 51 games in this ballpark.
Canerco's probably played 100. More than that, probably.
You guys are talking about stuff us pitchers don't like to hear.
All right, so we'll tell you that Sanchez has not allowed a home run all season.
Oh, don't do that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, you can't have it both
do
ways.
Not do that.
I already said it before, so it can't be the kiss of death.
Justin, you try to help him out all you can.
Justin, you got two kinds of people who played the game and people who didn't, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And for the people who didn't play the game, when you guys struggled this last couple weeks, fans don't understand when they see a guy maybe joking around a little bit. Oh, he's not taking it serious. That's why they're losing. But 162 games, you go nuts, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can't be dead serious every day. As a starting pitcher, you kind of have that luxury. It's 1 out of every 5. You can be a goofball the other 4. But, as a position player, we got so many veterans, too. Even if things aren't going well, they know how to come here loose and ready to play and turn the page.
Thinking butterfly here, 2-2?
I don't think so.
No.
Go back in there.
Sanchez asks Avila to start the signs over again.
I'm thinking slider down and in.
Changeup, the regular one, down and away, 3-2. That's at 87. That's the regular changeup, right?
Yeah, it's a good one. It's got good action too. All of his stuff is incredible. This is a guy who's got a no-hitter and I believe 4 one-hitters. So that just speaks to how good his stuff is.
Runners will be on the move. Napoli waiting on deck, hoping for an opportunity. Big out for Sanchez. Justin, thank you. You're back with us, bottom 6.
Yep. See you then.
All right. Thank you very much. Red Sox get a run. We'll go to the bottom of the 3rd. 1-0 Boston. Look at the Tigers position players who have won the MVP, and what an illustrious group that was. Our thanks again to Justin Verlander, who is of course a Tiger pitcher who has won the MVP.
Yeah.
The year he won the Cy Young, he also won the most valuable player. And we'll visit with Justin Verlander again, bottom six. Also, a little bit later on, we're also going to have Hall of Famer Al Kaline in the booth tonight. We'll talk to him a little bit about baseball in Detroit, Miguel Cabrera, Justin Verlander, and so on. It's a fun night. We're having a pretty good night.
Really
so
good
far,
night. Yeah, and a few years ago when Justin won his MVP, I was very critical of a pitcher winning an MVP.
I recall.
And so he comes on baseball tonight and just had fun with it, but kind of let me know that
you struck a nerve.
Well, yeah. How do they play 32 games a year?
Well, let's just put it this way: if you were still active and you were in the box, and Verlander was facing you, you wouldn't get the butterfly on the first pitch. He'd probably announce his presence with authority.
Well, that'd be fine.
1-1 the count on Austin Jackson. So you think there is no situation in which a pitcher deserves to win the MVP? As Jackson lines one into right, the first hit of the night for the Tigers. You know, Clemens, Gooden, Verlander, some of the great seasons that we've seen, because they only play 32
games. And they have their own award.
They have their own award.
Yeah. Like a hitter can't win the Cy Young.
That's true.
But a hitter's the only thing they can win is an MVP.
Well, he said it himself. They're a goofball 4 days out of 5.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's an MVP? Yeah. Huh. No, he had an unbelievable year. And he was in the running. But, yeah, we had a nice discussion about that. And then, of course, the conversation.
Cordial?
Very cordial. Yeah, yes. He's a gentleman. But then it just turned right to golf. So I figured we were over.
Things in life.
Yes, I figured we were over that little debate.
Here's Alex Avila. Runner going. Pitches high, throw down, not in time. Jackson with his 7th stolen base of the season.
And that's one area this offseason that Dave Dombrowski of the Tigers wanted to improve upon, getting more team speed, more athleticism. Of course, Austin Jackson has been here, but with Rajay Davis, Ian Kinsler, this has become part of the offense now for the Detroit Tigers. Get them on and run them.
That's the 42nd stolen base on the season for the Tigers. That's 5th in the American League, although their percentage is not great. Just under 70% on the season. Now can Avila at least advance the runner by pulling a ground ball to the right side? Jackson's got 7. Rajay Davis has 16. Ian Kinsler has 6.
Wow. I know 1-0 you're not looking for a breaking ball, but if you're looking to pull something, that's hard not to pull that one. You might pull it foul, but it's hard not to pull it.
Avila's never been able to recapture the numbers he had offensively 3 years ago. Now, he's been banged up a lot over the last couple of years, as we mentioned. And that has to have affected his offense to a certain degree. Out of play left side, 1-2. On deck is Eugenio Suarez, a shortstop who last night in his first major league start picked up his first major league hit, and it was a home run. Looking for more offense out of the shortstop position.
From Venezuela, and he wears number 30, which Magli Ordonez wore when he was here. Another proud Venezuelan. None more proud than Ozzie Guillen. And he'll tell you that over and over.
Lackey muttering to himself out on the mound right now. The very quick first 2 innings gives up a leadoff base hit to Austin Jackson. He steals second, and now 1-2 on Avila, with the Red Sox leading 1-0 in the bottom of the 3rd. And great movement down and in to strike out Avila, who cannot advance the runner. Aerial coverage tonight brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. What a beautiful shot that is. and a pitch just outside to Suarez. What do the Tigers like about Suarez?
Well, I think they like his confidence. His arm is, maybe Andrelton Simmons might have a better arm from shortstop than Suarez, but it's close. But they like his confidence. He came in here. He keeps. They say he stays quiet. Talking to Wally Joyner last night, he said he's very quiet, goes about his business, gets his work done. He's not one of these young kids that came in and thinking, okay, I'm here to save the world type of deals like some guys do when they first come in. But he's they said he has some pop in his bat, which if you watch a game yesterday, you saw.
And he lines one into left field, a base hit. Jackson around third. He'll come in to score on an RBI single by Suarez. That has tied the game.
Well, Suarez right here is a breaking ball that just hangs over in the center of the plate. And I know he's ahead in the count right there, but that's a pitch that you can wait on and really do some damage with. And that's it's just, for a young kid, have a 2-0 count. And let's not forget the play that Brock Holt made right there, his first start in left field ever. Pretty good play to keep Suarez at first base. But for a young kid to get a breaking ball 2-0 and to be able to stay on it, that tells you that he's got a pretty good idea what's going on.
The plan was for former Red Sox shortstop Jose Iglesias to be the Tigers shortstop this year, but stress fractures in both shins ended his season. Andrew Romine inherited the job, didn't hit at all. You heard a lot of talk that maybe the Tigers would go out and sign Stephen Drew, but he eventually re-signed with the Red Sox. And Suarez, who was on their radar in spring training and definitely made an impression once the Iglesias injury happened, made an impression with Brad Ausmus. They've turned to him in an effort to see if he can hit more and if they can fill the job from within instead of going out and getting somebody. Chopper to third, short way to second to force the lead runner, and that's all they'll get. And we may see some action here with Rajai Davis at first and 2 down. Davis is 16 of 19 on the season. Batter was Ian Kinsler.
And you love the fact that Austin Jackson ran on the first pitch. Stolen base success against John Lackey really good this year. And Rajai Davis, you said 16 stolen bases. And this is a situation, Dan, that you want him, if you're Ian Kinsler, to go early. Give you a chance to get yourself in a favorable count.
And teams run a lot on the Red Sox, and they have run a lot on Lackey this year. 12 out of 13 against him on the season.
The thing you hate is when a guy waits and waits and waits, and then he steals with 2 strikes on you, and then it's a battle.
There he goes. And the high throw is just late as Davis steals it. Comes up grimacing a little bit, but picks up his 17th steal of the season.
Well, and that's perfect. And Kinsler got the fastball, but this is what you love out of your second hitter, that confidence to hit with a strike on you. And Rajai Davis, his straight steal, no look back, nothing at all. And it looked like he tried to do the splits right there. We'll see that next Sunday night with Freddie Freeman at first base. Don't want to see it with Rajai Davis stealing second. But now Kinsler takes that fastball down the middle. Now he can get. He has an opportunity now to work the count here and try to set on something.
Lays off the breaking ball, 1-1.
I wonder if maybe the Red Sox might think about a pitch out on the first pitch. Just seem to be going first pitch whenever someone with speed gets on.
You don't mean now, when he was at
no,
first?
No, not now, yeah, but when he or Jackson, I mean,
yeah,
something to look for if you're the Tigers.
Fly ball left field. Holt back. Makes the catch up against the wall. In his first major league start as an outfielder. Holt runs it down on the warning track and saves a run for the Red Sox. here in the bottom of the third. John Farrell said he's become indispensable. We're seeing why. Taco Bell, Comerica Park in Detroit, the Red Sox and the Tigers in a 1-1 tie. Dustin Pedroia driving in a run on a sac fly in the top of the third. Eugenio Suarez driving in a run on a base hit in the bottom of the third. Brock Holt with a terrific catch to the left, or the Tigers would have the lead as Mike Napoli leads off the fourth. He walked in his return to the active roster back in the second. And he lifts a high fly ball into right center field. Drifting back, Austin Jackson, one down. Brock Holt is a guy who never, ever played in the outfield as a professional. Second, third, a little short. They tried him at first the last couple of weeks, last several days really, to keep him in the lineup. Now with Napoli back, they're moving him to the outfield. And the early returns are good.
John Farrell told us, he said, you know, it's a wait and see because he's never done it, but his athleticism, they said, is not going to be an issue. And this is what you want. And tell me, he can play third, he can play short, he can play second, he can play first. And now if he can play the outfield, he becomes a valuable asset, not only to the Boston Red Sox, but somewhere down the road to other teams. You understand why a guy like Nick Punto stays around so long. He can play all the infield positions, doesn't complain, doesn't say anything if he's not in the lineup. It just goes out and plays as hard as he can every single time he's out there. And Brock Holt can become that guy.
Brzezinski lifts a fly ball to left field. Rajai Davis closing ground, can't make the catch. Comes up limping just a little bit for a moment. And Brzezinski has himself a ground rule double. Boy, and it looked like he might have had a better shot at that ball if he just kept running rather than going into a slide.
Yeah, sometimes that wall creeps up on you pretty quick when it's down that line like that, and you start losing track of where you are. But this is a play right here. Rajai Davis, like you said, Dan, he takes 2 more, 3 more steps. He catches it. Big opening right there. Plenty of time to slow up before he runs into the bleachers or the seats down the left field line. But yeah, that's a play right there. He went into the slide, and the slide made him come up short on that ball. Now more issues for Anibal Sanchez.
The batter is Daniel Nava. Nava hit a fly ball to center his first time up. We mentioned if Holt keeps playing the outfield, Victorino comes back. Then they've got Holt, Sizemore, Bradley, Nava, Gomes, and Victorino for 3 spots. Because they're not one of these teams that rotates people through the DH spot. That's obviously David Ortiz. So if all 6 of them are healthy and on the roster at the same time, how does John Farrell figure out who to put in there? Obviously, if somebody gets hot, they play.
Well, that's the problem, though. Like, when do you find out if one of the other two sitting on the bench is going to get hot? If the other 2 guys who are playing left field and right field are swinging the bat well. But I think in a perfect world, with Brock Holt now manning that leadoff position and doing a good job, they're going to play that out until he starts struggling. You know, at the perfect world, it would be Daniel Nava and Johnny Gomes platooning in right field, with Bradley manning center because of his great defense, and hopefully, you know, Brock Holt staying in left field. When Victorino comes back, and you know, the thing is, we can talk about this all we want, but by the time Victorino comes back, there'll probably be someone else on the disabled list. Brock Holt will just go play there.
Victorino on the DL for the 2nd time this year. Right hamstring problem.
But Brock Holt has been taking fly balls also in center field, which could be interesting. Yeah, we always wondered what the Dodgers would do if they had all 4 healthy outfielders, and that ain't happened yet.
What about Grady Sizemore trying to make the comeback after missing 2 years and parts of others, hitting .222 so far?
Yeah, well, I think that was the most telltale thing I took out of our meeting this afternoon with John Farrell was, you know, he said Nava and Gomes in right, Brock Holt in left, and Bradley in center. He never mentioned Grady Sizemore. You got to wonder if his playing time is going to diminish, and what eventually would happen to him if that playing time does diminish.
I mean, if you're the Red Sox, there's got to be some urgency about your situation right now. 4th place, 9.5 out.
Yeah, there's no margin for error right now. I mean, this is, you know, you can't wait for a guy who hasn't played for 2 years to get hot and give him his at bats to wait for him to get hot right now. They have to win now.
75th pitch of the night already upcoming here for Anibal Sanchez. Now look at the American League East standings. The Blue Jays lost again today, 2 in a row. They were shut out again by the Cardinals, but still 5.5 up on Baltimore, 6 up on the Yankees. Tampa Bay just reeling. Everybody else in the American League East has lost already today as the Red Sox play this game.
So they can pick up a game on everyone.
They can pick up a game on everyone with a win tonight.
Doesn't happen much.
The Blue Jays had won 20 out of 24 until the Cardinals shut them out each of the last 2 days. Shelby Miller was brilliant yesterday. Jaime Garcia with 7 innings to pick up the win today.
Yeah, that's in Toronto too, which I don't know. I didn't find it such a great hitter's ballpark the handful of games I played there, but apparently it is.
The ball goes. The ball flies.
Yeah, the 2 places there in Chicago, the White Sox.
Yeah.
Oh, the ball flies there.
Yeah.
Whew. I didn't see that.
2-2 the count on Nava. And a base hit into center field. Pierzynski will be held at third. And Nava, who did have 3 hits last night, albeit 2 of them weren't hit that hard, but he had 3 hits last night, has another base hit here tonight.
And if you're John Farrell and Daniel Nava too, you know, John Farrell mentioned, said, look, he had hits. He didn't hit the ball extremely hard, but he said, we'll take hits. But that's a confidence thing for Daniel Nava. When you go home at night and you say, okay, I had 3 hits. Maybe I didn't crush the ball every at bat, but I had 3 hits, and now I can build on that. And he hit that ball pretty good up the middle there to get past Suarez. And now another guy who's been struggling because he's only played 3 games or 4 games. This is 3rd game, I guess.
Steven Drew's 1 for 12 since coming back to the Red Sox. Obviously, they got him for the glove. I mean, he can stabilize things at short. They can move Bogarts to third, where he played a lot last year.
I wonder if there's any thought of squeezing with Steven Drew. 1 out.
Brzezinski the runner at third and Nava at first, one down. A changeup and a high strike to Drew, 1-1. Jackie Bradley Jr. on deck. Tigers swept the Red Sox at Fenway back in May, trying to sweep them again here at Comerica here in June.
This is an action pitch right here, 2-1. I wonder if they'll send Nava and hope that Sanchez throws a strike and Drew can put it in play somewhere on the ground and try to steal another run here. Pretty good velocity over to first too. If you're
doesn't matter what the count is, he's got confidence in that changeup.
Well, he should. It's a dandy. And when you can, you understand guys can take velocity off their fastball, maybe their breaking ball, but when you can do that with your changeup to go from 87 to 74, some things in life just aren't fair, Dan.
Isn't this when you start telling kids to stay in school?
Stay in school, get your education.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite pep talk of yours. Pitch count at 80 now, with one out in the fourth.
They don't count the bullets he's thrown to first. That has to be taxing on the arm.
And a full count. Will Nava be running here?
Yes. They all wanted this pitch. It's been a pretty tight strike zone so far. Lackey's complained about a couple. K-Zone agrees with that one, dipping out of the strike zone. You have to throw it in the box to get a strike with this game tonight.
And back to the changeup again to strike him out.
I mean, if you're Steve and Drew, come on. I've got 12 at bats this year. I missed the first 2 months of the season, and you're going to throw me a 3-2 changeup, and a great one. Not just a get me over.
And two down. Jackie Bradley Jr. the batter. Runner still on the corners.
Tell me there's some thoughts going through Steve and Drew right now. Maybe I should have stayed home a little longer.
Let's go down to Buster for more.
Guys, I talked to Alex Avila about that changeup and about his improvement. He said the changeup is so good and has so much movement. He just sets up in the middle of the plate and just tries to follow the ball. He said, I don't know if it's going to cut, if it's going to fade. He said he can do all kinds of things with that changeup.
Facing Bradley, who had a base hit off him last inning, and who, although he's barely hitting over 200 overall, is hitting 300 on the season with runners in scoring position. And you would think, given his youth and given his defense, as we talked about all the outfielders, that he still will be given an opportunity to play through it and see if the bat heats up.
I thought it was telling again that John Farrell said that, Brock Holt has been taking fly balls in center field also. I don't think there's anything etched in stone in this outfield with Victorino out.
And all of a sudden here, it's like Sanchez, he's just pounding fastballs at Bradley. Doesn't think that he can catch up.
Yeah, until this 74-mile-an-hour aptly named butterfly
alert is on.
I would think, yeah, AJ's hungry.
Back to the fastball.
That one was relatively straight. Gave you a chance there. This could be slider down and in. And he can go any way he wants. 1-2 count with Bradley. He can go slider down and in, the changeup away, or fastball in. What's the fastball in?
Got it. Great job by Sanchez to get out of trouble. To the bottom of the fourth, tied at 1. Look who's coming up. Miguel Cabrera is going to lead it off. Miguel Cabrera is going to lead it off. What makes him such a great hitter?
Well, he does everything right in the batter's box. You see the launch position, which we just call getting your hands in a good hitting spot. They call it now the launch position. But his head, look at his balance, the swing path. Watch how long a barrel of his bat stays through the strike zone, through contact, all the way through follow through. The head comes with the swing. It doesn't stay down, but it always stays still, follows the ball. And look at that left thigh. I think there's some power, some torque going into those things.
Grounded out his first time up.
Like Wally Joyner told me last night, he said, Crookie, he's 6'5", 250 pounds. He doesn't do normal things.
And he muscles one into the right field corner and is on his way into second base. 2 doubles last night, another one tonight. That's 21 doubles on the season.
And this is what makes it difficult. We talked about his opposite field power, but this is a John Lackey fastball. Watch this swing. You see the launch position. He gets his hands up and back, perfect position. That ball's inside, off the inside corner of the plate, and he still has the ability with his hands to get inside the ball, hit a line drive to right center, or to down the right field line to get to the fence, and now a double. And you know this guy, Victor Martinez. There's a good chance he's either going to drive him in or get him over.
Only Robinson Cano has a higher batting average in the American League than a Victor Martinez.
Needs to hit a home run to tie up this 15-15 thing.
He'll settle for the base hit into right field. Cabrera's going to get the wave, and it will come in to score as the Tigers take a 2-1 lead.
Victor Martinez, you're the fourth hitter. You know what you're trying to do as a left-handed hitter. You're trying to drive him in, but you also want to get him over in that process too if you don't get a hit. But watch Victor Martinez. This pitch is tailing away from him, but he goes out and gets it. Look at how far that bat stays in the strike zone, gets through the hitting path, and the great extension follow through and a barrel of the bat through the infield. Now we got Tigers got something cooking here.
And there's Torrey Hunter. Hunter struck out his first time up. There has been a little bit of concern about the defense of Torrey Hunter. Remember there was the error a few days ago, the ball that he and Jackson kind of looked at each other. I don't got it, you take it from both sides, it looked like. There's a tailor-made double play ball. I'll turn it with ease. Of course, at one point, Crucky Hunter was one of the game's great defensive center fielders, and when he first moved to right, measured out very well then. The defensive metrics, and granted, that's not an exact science, I don't think, but they don't flatter Torrey Hunter right now. What does your eye test tell you about him in right field?
Well, you know, I've seen a couple balls that I thought he probably should have caught that he normally would catch. You have to remember, he's no spring chicken,
right.
and he's going to slow up. It happens, and you know, I think though, if you ask anyone on the Tigers team right now, they'd still take him.
Castellanos will fly out, and all of a sudden the inning is over. Tigers though get a run, and they're up 2-1 here in Detroit. As we go to the top of the fifth, time now to get some FaceTime brought to you by Edward Jones. Buster Olney with Tigers manager Brad Ausmus.
Brad, Anibal Sanchez, 87 pitches so far. How much longer can you go with him?
Well, I mean, he's been off the DL long enough, had enough starts since then to go to what his max is, but certainly not exactly where you want to be in terms of pitch count at this point in the game. We'll see. Maybe we can have a quick inning and go a little deeper.
Joe Nathan threw 32 pitches on Saturday. If you get into a safe situation tonight, is he going to be your option?
Well, I don't know if John Farrell's staff's watching us over there, so I can't tell you.
If not him, who would it be?
Well, Job is the guy we go to if Joe can't throw.
Brad, thanks.
There's the high pitch count. Joe Nathan has really struggled recently. I mean, really struggled in 4 of his last 5 appearances. And as Buster mentioned, 32 pitches, gave up 2 runs on 4 hits in an inning last night in a non-save situation. And Brad Ausmus told us before the game he's his closer. Whether he would use him tonight because of the work last night or the night before, he didn't say. As Holt lines one to right field, and that is another hit. He is 2 for 3. But if you're a Tigers fan right now, one of the things that has to concern you a little bit is the way Nathan's pitched recently.
Yeah, it's not been good, and you know they thought they addressed that problem that's been their issue the last few years with the closer situation, and they hope Joe Nathan would be that guy. He had a great year last year in Texas. It just hasn't worked out this year, and you would think that it would because of the bigger ballpark, you know, how the ball flies out at that ballpark in Arlington, but it has been a struggle for Joe Nathan. And you know, the thing is, they have options. You know, with Jabba pitching great, you know, they did sign Joe Hanrahan, but in one of his workouts he tweaked his hamstring, so you don't know how that's going to work out. But you know, it's funny because I watched the game last night and he came in and he struggled a little bit, and the Tigers fans started booing him a little bit, but I mean, shouldn't they be used to closers not doing well?
Yeah, Valverde was a roller coaster ride when he was here, right? I mean, he had some great moments, but
Rodney.
He also aged Jim Leland a little bit over the last couple of years. So.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, but you know, Brad Osmond's still a young guy, so they don't. I don't think they're going to age Brad just yet.
But you've got an experienced team that's had a ton of success. They've been to the American League Championship Series each of the last 3 years. One of those years they got to the World Series, but they haven't won it all. This is a mature team with a big payroll, a lot of expectations. You got to believe if they feel they have a weakness that Dave Dombrowski will go out and address that weakness in July.
He seems to always do that, doesn't he, down the stretch when he thinks his team, or at the trade deadline when he thinks his team has a chance. And you know, when you watch how the first couple months of the season has played out, there's like 20 teams right now that have a chance, but this team has a great opportunity to not only win the division again, but with that starting staff to go deep in the postseason. You know, when you watch postseason baseball, not many guys finish games. It's a quick race to the bullpen as soon as a guy gets in trouble. So you need a great bullpen and a great closer. And, you know, the Red Sox last year with Uehara, what he did, solidifying that closer role after everyone else got hurt. Bailey and Hanrahan both got hurt. You know, Uehara steps in and he becomes that dominant closer that helped them win a world championship. Will Dave Dombrowski go out and say, okay, what's available, who's available, and how can I get him?
If Jabba, this is speculative on your part, that I'm going to put you in the spot here. If Jabba Chamberlain continues to pitch great, and Joe Nathan continues to struggle, and that's the way that it's been recently, do you think the Tigers will try Jabba Chamberlain as their closer?
I think they will give it a shot. If Joe Nathan continues to struggle, they have to. You can't just wait for a guy to figure it out in June, July, or August and give him that opportunity. You know, it's not like they're 20 games up and they can live with it and, you know, maybe, you know, suffer through a couple games of having to watch a closer continue to struggle. But it's not a good pitch to swing at right there. You're not going to catch that one too often. But
strikeout number 6 there for Sanchez. Buster, what is the possibility of Joel Hanrahan becoming a factor?
Yeah, and he's a guy, of course, who has closing experience, 100 career saves, a 2-time All-Star, but he doesn't really seem to be on the Tigers' radar now. He had Tommy John surgery last year, and he's still working his way back. He had a hamstring issue last week. They're trying to get him through his throwing program, but right now he's not really an option.
Now they do have the lead in the American League Central. They're 3.5 up on the Indians, who won again today. A strike taken by Pedroia. Cleveland beating Texas 3-2. And more bad news for Texas. Mitch Moreland, we heard over the last couple of days, needs ankle surgery. Will be out for 3 months. Decimated by injuries. Whoa. 68 on that pitch, and it's a wild pitch, and Holt round second, was thinking about third. So he went back into his bag of tricks, but it didn't pay off this time.
Yeah, he spiked that one a hair. Yeah, that was not really close to anything. That's when Avila probably wishes there was a left-hand hitter, because that had probably bounced and hit him.
Brad Ausmus told Buster, hoping for a quick inning, so maybe they can get a little bit more out of Sanchez. His season high in pitches is 111. He's at 95 already through 4 1/3. Pedroia has struck out and had a sac fly. And he lays off the slider away. Pedroia's hit first, second, third for the Red Sox right now. In the 3 spot, with Holt leading off and Bogaerts moved up to the 2 hole. Right center, and it'll hang up long enough for Jackson to make the catch. 2 down. Well, arguably the biggest sporting event in the world kicks off Thursday here on ESPN. The 2014 FIFA World Cup Matchday show at 3 Eastern, then at 3:30 it all gets going with Brazil and Croatia. The 2014 FIFA World Cup, presented by Adidas, begins Thursday on ESPN. Host Brazil has won 5 World Cup titles, the most by any country. The USA will begin on the 16th of June. That's a week from tomorrow against Ghana.
Who?
Ghana.
And where would that be located?
Africa.
Okay.
Here's David Ortiz.
I have no idea. No idea. All I care about is where Detroit is, and next week where Atlanta is.
Cool. 1-1 on Ortiz, who has flied out and struck out.
Well, this is where you figure out, okay, how much with Mike Napoli missing and not getting many at bats, or not getting any at bats in a minor league start. You know, what's David Ortiz going to get featured here with a runner on second and first base open?
Out of play, 1-2.
Struck him out his last at bat with a changeup.
100 pitches here in the 5th inning.
That was a 3-2 pitch. 1-2. He can go any way. See if he'll chase. Maybe a slider down and in. Fastball up and away. Scherzer struck him out last night on a fastball up and away out of the strike zone that he chased with 2 strikes.
Fastball line to third, but righted Castellanos to win the inning. When we come back, Hall of Famer, Tigers legend Al Kaline will join us live here in the booth at Comerica Park. Red Sox bottom of the 5th, the statue of Hall of Famer Al Kaline here at Comerica Park, and we're so pleased to be joined here in the booth by the man himself, nicknamed Mr. Tiger. Spent all 22 years of his big league career in a Tigers uniform. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, it's our pleasure and honor to have you here as Austin Jackson fouls it back. Let's start there. What does it mean to you in hindsight to have spent your whole career in one uniform?
Well, it means a lot. You know, I'm from Baltimore, and I had a chance to go several other teams. Of course, back when I signed, if you got more than $4,000, you got to stay in the big leagues 2 years. And I had a chance to go to several other teams for quite a bit of money, but I didn't think I'd get a chance to play with those teams, sitting 2 years with the Tigers. And I made a great choice. You know, this is a great town. Great town. It's not too big, and I'm kind of a small town guy, and I don't need all the publicity.
You played a little bit in the majors at the age of 18 and 19. Your first full season, you were 20, and you won a batting title. Looking back at that remarkable achievement, what comes to mind?
Well, just the luck that I had that year. I mean, everything seemed to fall into place for me, and the pitchers really didn't give me any respect because I was just a kid, and they said I can get this kid out, and I kept getting hits and it's just one of those magical years that I had.
Has the game changed any, in your opinion? Now, you're here every night with how the young players were treated today as opposed to when you first came up?
Well, I joined the team in Philadelphia, and as I was walking out of the locker room back in Shive Park, a veteran grabbed me by the shirt and choked me and says, "You don't belong here. You took my best friend's job." And wow, it's not like today where the veteran players take care of the kids. I was pretty much an outcast because I was so young.
You get to watch Miguel Cabrera hit on a nightly basis. Where does he rank among the greatest players you've seen, played with, or played against?
Well, he's the best player that I've ever seen here in a Tiger uniform. Of course, I can't go back way back, but he's the best hitter I've ever seen here in a Tiger uniform. I can't compare him with the other guys in the National League, but what I've seen in the American League, he's the best all-around hitter. He uses the whole field, and as you know, he doesn't run very well, and he still hits 340, 350 every year. In a big ballpark, it hits 35, 40 home runs every year.
Does he still amaze you, or do you kind of expect it after all these years?
Oh, I expect it. I expect it. And when he goes 1 or 2 games without a hit, I say, "What's wrong?" You know? But he's a great guy, and he loves to play the game of baseball, and he's just a great hitter.
1-2 the count on Alex Avila. Bottom of the 5th, 2-1 the Tigers leading the Red Sox. John Lackey on the mound for Boston. And there's strike 3 called, 2 down. Well, let's show you the double from earlier tonight, Al, from Miguel Cabrera. Maybe you could break down what you see in his swing a little bit.
Well, you can see he has a little bit of motion with his hands, but his head's really still. He stays right behind the ball. And the game today has changed to the point now where it's a smaller strike zone, lower strike zone, and more hitters now are keeping the bat down and low, and they don't have to worry about hitting the fastball around the shoulders. And you see more and more hitters hitting the ball the opposite way now.
Here's Suarez again, because you spent so many years in this city. This team's been so good the last few years, but they haven't taken the ultimate step. It's such a blue-collar city, passionate people. They've supported this team so well. What would it mean to this city for the Tigers to win the World Series?
It would mean an awful lot, you know, since '84 and '68 before that. But yeah, this is a great town. The people support it. We have a great owner, and he has supplied Dave Dombrowski and Al Avila with everything that they pretty much want or need. And he wants to win, and the Tigers want to win for the city of Detroit and for Mr. Ilitch.
Now, the last few years, a big thing that just come into baseball is the shifting. What do you think about it, and how would you have combated it if they'd have tried to shift on you?
Well, you know what? I was not a home run hitter or a dead power hitter, but I could hit the ball up the middle pretty much anytime I wanted to or wanted to get certain pitchers, and I probably wouldn't have been able to hit the ball the other way if I had to. But you know, I don't understand a lot of it, but it seems to work out more and more. Of course, the players today, if you hit 20 home runs, you got a job for life, and it doesn't matter whether they strike out or not.
Does it frustrate you when you watch guys that don't have a lot of power that strike out 120, 130 times?
You know, I hate to bring up, because I'm an old geezer, but I'm not a guy that likes to bring up the old times. But you know, with 2 strikes, you put the ball in play. Now they swing from the fences no matter what, and they never anticipate what's coming. And I think I use that word anticipation because I talked to Ted Williams one time. I said, "Ted, do you ever guess?" He says, "Al, I never guess. I anticipate." And I never see players anticipate what they're going to get.
Hitting over on the ground ball. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Have a great season. We'll see you later on in the year. Hall of Famer Al Kaline joining us here in the booth in Detroit. Tigers up 2-1 on the Red Sox.
Web Gems had great starting pitchers pitching in front of them.
Absolutely. Great starting pitching and good defense behind them. Matt Carpenter from St. Louis. Anytime I see the bounce throw, I think about Davey Concepcion on the carpet in Canada, making the throw across the diamond. Boom, Davey Concepcion style. That one's kind of close to the heart right there.
That was close. And Jaime Garcia started, pitched well, 7 scoreless.
Alcides Escobar. What's impressive about this is he's in double play position. He dives away, going towards left field, and then has enough arm from the knees to throw to first base in the air. Alcides Escobar's 8th Web Gem of the season.
And James Shields great in that game.
Josh Donaldson, this guy, you see it with the bat, you see it with the glove, and the cannon of an arm, diving out of fair territory into foul territory and coming up and making the throw. That is a great play from third base.
And guys, 7-2 now is Scott Kazmir. What a bounce back he's had. With Barry Larkin, Carl Ravitch, see you tomorrow night for our game Monday. Now back inside the den.
All right, guys, thank you. And we go to the 6th inning here in Detroit with the Tigers leading the Red Sox 2-1. Mike Napoli, A.J. Pierzynski, Daniel Nava. And again, our thanks to Al Kaline, who is as classy a gentleman as he was as talented a player.
It's the classiest person who's been in this booth tonight, I can tell you that.
Well, he didn't have much competition with you and me, but
yeah, there's no close second, is there?
Here's Napoli driving the ball to right field. It is pretty well struck, and it is gone. In his first game back off the disabled list, Mike Napoli takes Anibal Sanchez the other way for a home run to tie the game. 6th of the season for Napoli, and the first allowed this season by Sanchez.
And 103rd pitch of the game for Anibal Sanchez here in the 6th inning. This is what the Boston Red Sox needed desperately to get Mike Napoli not only back in the lineup, but a healthy back in the lineup. Fastball up and away. You see Avila, he doesn't even move. He knows when the ball left the bat. You can tell by the sound that that ball wasn't coming back into play.
Now Pierzynski, the Red Sox have tied it at 2, and there's activity in the Tigers' pen. And a chopper the other way, and Castellanos boots it. An error on the third baseman.
This is one thing as a young player, you'll figure this out. You got to know who's running at all times, and AJ can't run that well, but you see Castellanos right there. Once that ball got past him, he assumed that there was going to be no play on it, and AJ, because that pitch was away and he was leaning out, he didn't get a great jump out of the batter's box, and he's slow anyway. Castellanos right there, if he gets back and gets that ball in time, he might have had a play at AJ at first base. He assumed he didn't have a play, instead of going after the ball aggressively and thinking he had a play.
Nava chases a fastball, let her high, and it's 0-1. He's flied out and had a base hit tonight. Left-hander Ian Kroll is up in the Tigers' pen. And Evan Reed's going to join him.
I'd like to have that job. Reliever. You have to wait for a phone call to tell you to go in.
They like the adrenaline, especially the ninth inning guys.
Some.
And strike three call to get Nava, who will spend some time discussing that with home plate umpire Adam Hamari.
This is a pitch right here that Anibal Sanchez hasn't been calling a strike all night, and it looked like it just above the strike zone, but you know that's too close. 2 strikes. That's an elevated fastball.
Now Stephen Drew.
Take your rips at that one.
Hey, can I drop one quick Al Kaline
Yes.
thing on?
Please do.
We were talking about strikeouts. The most Al Kaline ever struck out in a season was 66 times. And he described himself as, I wasn't really a home run hitter. He hit 399 home runs. He had over 3,000 hits.
Is that all?
And by the way, he's a 10-time Gold Glover and one of the great right fielders the game has ever seen.
Perhaps that's why he's in the Hall of Fame, Dan.
But just
he's the
down to earth,
nicest man.
humble, yeah.
You know, 2 of the nicest men I've ever met in baseball. He and Robin Roberts, who I had the great pleasure one year of playing in a golf outing, and Robin said, "Hey, you're an old Philly. You know, you're an old Philly boy." He said, "Come on in the car." I got to ride in the back seat with Al Kaline and Robin Roberts in the front talking about baseball.
Weekly hit to short. And on to first. Now throw to second. And they got Pierzynski hung up. He made a wide turn around second. There was nobody at third because of the way the infield was playing, and it ends up costing him and ending the inning. back to Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell. Bottom of the 6th inning now here at Comerica Park, and a good one between the Red Sox and Tigers. A 2-2 tie to the home run from Mike Napoli. Top of the order for Detroit as Rajai Davis takes a strike from John Lackey. Ian Kinsler and Miguel Cabrera is still coming as Justin Verlander rejoins us from the Tigers dugout this half inning. Justin, we had Al Kaline in the booth an inning or so ago. What's it like having a Hall of Famer with his experience and his class around you on a daily basis?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. He's one of my all-time favorite people. He's so humble, and we all know his stats and what he was able to accomplish in this game. But he takes the time every day to talk to the guys, and he's just around. And it's a pleasure for him to be here every day.
Davis chases, and the tag applied for out number 1.
Justin, what does that mean to an organization when you have younger players? Well, when you first came up and you have a guy like him who's a complete class act, a complete gentleman, representing this organization when you come in as a young player?
Yeah, I think it just shows you the way it should be done. He represents the Old English D, and he knows that. He's Mr. Tiger. I mean, you don't represent any more than that, but he handles his business the right way and shows these younger guys by example how to do things.
Kinsler's 0 for 2 tonight. And a little looper, shallow right center, will be caught by Nava, the right fielder, for out number 2. Justin, as Miguel Cabrera comes up, we've had you on a lot. We haven't asked you anything about you. Can we talk about you a little bit right now?
Sure.
As you well know, whether you read the papers or the internet or not, everybody loves to talk about your velocity. How are you feeling about it, and how important is that to you in your mind in succeeding?
The last couple in particular, I've been feeling much better. I've made some mechanical adjustments that I feel have really helped my velocity, and the ball's been jumping out of my hand better. And this is a game of adjustments. You got to work on things, and hopefully I'm going in the right direction. Definitely feels like it.
Well, velocity last start, you hit 97 miles an hour with
98, John.
Sorry, my mistake. I get carried away when I watch Miguel Cabrera hit. I forget things, but location is far more important than velocity. Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely. 2011, the first 3 innings I started the game, I'm throwing 90, 91 and, hitting my spots, and I saw how important that was.
Even you can't take your eyes off him when he hits. You got to watch every pitch.
Yeah, he hits the ball harder than everybody else. So if it comes this way, I'm not going to have much time to react.
That's a fair point.
Did you almost get hit last night with one?
I did. I almost got smoked. Thank goodness that fence was there. Kinsler squared one up. I don't know how he barreled the ball at me, but he somehow found a way. You're just not ready for that from a right-handed hitter.
2-1 on the count of Cabrera. 2 down, nobody on. Tie game here in the bottom of the 6th.
So would you consider that a pull hook from Kinsler?
I don't know what I'd consider that. He barreled it, though. I'll give him that.
Oh, haven't you barreled one and snap hooked it out of bounds before? You're a golfer.
We don't like to talk about those. Those are our nightmare.
Base hit for Cabrera. Crucky, he's now 6 for 10 in the series.
Well, yeah, he's struggling along with it, too. But this is a breaking ball by John Lackey. And, to be honest with you, John Lackey's lucky that's only a single, because that was a hanger middle in, and when you see Miggy right there, it looks like he has some sort of issue. The trainer's coming out, Brad Osmus, with the ankle or some part of the lower body part. But again, John Lackey just lucky that's a single. You see the head staying down through the swing, hitting off the firm front side. But I think it looks like that left foot's the one that's actually hurting him.
Yeah, he was in trouble right out of the box. So you wonder if it was even before this at bat. On the double to right field earlier tonight, he just beat the throw, and he was kind of half speeding it into second base, seeing he could beat the throw. But whatever it is, it's going to take Miguel Cabrera out of the game as Don Kelly will run with him. Justin, I don't know, do you know of anything? Did you see anything earlier in the game tonight?
Well, this is the type of thing that goes on in baseball. We play 162 games, and guys are dealing with injuries that a lot of people don't know about. Or not dealing with injuries, but dealing with, sore whatever, or this or that. And it happens throughout the course of the season. Obviously, you hope Miggy's fine. He's a huge part of this ball club. And he goes out there night in and night out. He's gonna play.
Now, speaking of injuries that we don't know a lot about, didn't you have one last year that no one knew about? You got it fixed this offseason?
Yeah, I had a core muscle surgery this offseason. Everything's good to go, though.
Maybe you need to eat more.
I eat like a horse, man. I just can't put on weight.
Crucky has that problem, too.
I never pulled a core muscle.
Can't pull fat.
That's a good point, my friend.
Here's Victor Martinez. So Don Kelly running at first for Miguel Cabrera. You know, sometimes, Justin, because of the greatness of Cabrera, it almost seems like nationally Victor Martinez gets overlooked a little bit, but I'm sure he's respected as much as anybody inside that clubhouse.
Absolutely. He needs to get more recognition. I mean, the at-bats this guy puts up night in and night out are just unbelievable. He prepares better than anybody I've ever seen in this game, and you can see it when he's out there on the field. He grinds through at-bats and finds a way.
What were your battles like with him when he was an Indian or a member of the Red Sox?
I hated pitching to him. Yeah. He got me pretty good. He was actually my welcome to the big leagues moment. My first start was in Cleveland in 2005. And threw a fastball at 99 up and in, and he hit a double off the wall, and that was the pitch that nobody had ever hit before, and that was my kind of like, wow, this is a different level.
Brad Osmus tells us how intense he is. You don't talk to him when he's heading to the plate or when he hasn't executed the way he wants to. He's got a bit of a different personality up there than Miguel Cabrera does.
Yeah, he does. He works at it, and not saying that Miguel doesn't, but he doesn't quite have the natural ability that Miguel has. I don't think anybody on the planet does. I mean, he's very intense, very locked in every single pitch. And I mean, even our pregame high five, I smack him in the face. And if it's not hard enough, he tells me to do it again.
And he will draw the walk.
I know Wally Joyner told me last night when I was talking to him, he said that the great thing about Victor is he's never going to get in the batter's box before he's prepared for that pitch. He takes his time no matter how long it takes him until he's dialed in.
Absolutely, yeah. He's not the quickest at bat in the world, but he's locked in when he finally steps in.
So Martinez at first, Kelly at second, 2 down, and the batter was Torrey Hunter, 0 for 2. How much have you already put in preparation-wise for Tuesday in Chicago? What's still to come for you, Justin?
Well, I'm still going to look at some video, but these guys in our division, you know them pretty well. You know what they like, you know what they don't like. And they see us so much. We know each other well.
They got that new guy swinging a pretty hot bat for him, Abreu, this year.
Yeah, he looks to be the real deal. He's one of those guys that quickly established himself, and sometimes early on in guys' careers, you wonder if they're going to be able to keep it going or if it's just a hot start. But he's kept it going, and looks like he's going to be an all-star.
I tell you, the thing I noticed about him is like Miguel Cabrera. There's rarely an overswing with him.
Yeah, well, he doesn't need to overswing. He's extremely strong. He reminds me in that aspect of Miguel. He's got power to all fields. He doesn't need to try to generate power. It's just natural.
Justin Verlander joining us from the Tigers dugout. They've got something going here. 2 on to a 2 out. Torrey Hunter at the plate.
Torrey's another guy like Victor who's always extremely locked in and does a lot of research and does everything he can possibly do to give himself an edge.
Wouldn't you think, Justin, at 39, he'd have figured that out already?
Well, I'm assuming that's something that happened over time. I would guess that early in his career, he just kind of threw his hat out there and was great. And as he got older, he needed to change a little bit. And I've never actually talked to him about that. I'm kind of assuming.
Who teases him the most on the team about his age? I heard some guys call him Poppy or something.
Pops but anytime you take a jab, you ask him how it was playing with Babe Ruth. And, just little jabs here and there.
But he's good natured, I'd imagine, about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. He's one of the best, man. He's a great teammate.
Lackey sets. And the 2-1 fastball fouled back by Hunter, 2-2. He can still catch up with the fastball. As he tries to battle Lackey here and give the Tigers the lead. Over 33,000 here tonight. Over 116,000 here in the 3-game series.
Justin, we asked Al Kaline, and we don't want to put undue pressure or speculation on anything, but what would it mean to this city that's gone through so much to be able to win a world championship, bring a world championship to these people?
It would mean everything. You know, the support they give us. If we could win a World Series for them, that would be amazing for us and them.
Well, Justin, good luck in that regard on Tuesday against the White Sox, and we thank you for joining us here tonight.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Justin Verlander of the Tigers through 6, tied at 2. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell, is brought to you by CenturyLink Business, your link to what's next. Mike Napoli's home run in the top of the 6th inning tied the game at 2 as the Red Sox try to salvage the final game of this series and end their 5-game losing streak. New pitcher for Detroit, Ian Kroll, misses a little bit inside to Jackie Bradley Jr. Kroll, the left-hander, comes on after Sanchez went the first 6. There's some very good things about the Tiger bullpen and some things that haven't gone so well. You can see the numbers for Kroll that he has worked out nicely as a left-handed specialist. Don Kelly stays in the game at first after running for Miguel Cabrera, who left with an apparent injury. If we get any word as to exactly what it is, we will pass it along. Big breaking ball, and it's 1-2. I think that Verlander's got a future in this business if he wants to.
Yeah. Let's hope he waits a few years.
You might want to buckle down.
We need a pitcher in the booth if he wants to come up one day. See how he likes it. He's a smart man, funny. Good looking. I mean, you know, there's a few of us out there, Dan.
Of all the places I thought you were going with that, that wasn't it.
Keep you on your toes.
Yeah. That was you buckled my knees with a curveball right there. 2-2 on Bradley on the fastball up and in. He'll be followed by leadoff hitter Brock Holt, who's 2 for 3 tonight, and then Xander Bogaerts. Well, on the opening day roster for the first time in his career. And he's pitched well for the Tigers this year. And you can see there's a lot of sweep and a lot of break on that breaking ball.
A good fastball too, and a great breaking ball. You know, I'm sure he has other pitches, but coming out of the bullpen, you don't need that many just yet.
He was with the Nationals last year, 2-1 with a 3.95 ERA. Buster's got an update. Buster.
Guys, we're told by the Tigers that Miguel Cabrera left the game with left hamstring tightness, and he's day-to-day.
All right, so the Tigers obviously hoping it's a minor situation. And swung on it, missed, and Bradley strikes out, 1 down. Aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Back to the top of the order for Brock Holt. 2 more hits tonight. As you look down upon Comerica Park here in downtown Detroit. Beautiful night. And the curveball at 76 for a strike.
Brock Holt's one of the few Red Sox players that will swing early in the count. Most of them like to get deep into the count, but you see Kroll there starting him off with 2 breaking balls.
John Farrell told us that Brock Holt hits lefties as well as righties, and he wasn't kidding. So far this year, he is 18 for 48, a .375 average against lefties. Make it 19 for 49.
This could be 3.
Yeah, this is 3. Yep. This is an easy 3. So he's 3 for 4 tonight with 2 singles and now a triple. And Brad Ausmus is on his way to the mound. He wants the right-hander Evan Reed as the Red Sox look to take the lead here in the top of the 7th in Detroit. Follow at MLB Fan Cave on Twitter and like the MLB Fan Cave on Facebook. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service celebrating 12 years. Watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 devices. Visit MLB.TV for details. So here we are in the 7th inning in Detroit with the Red Sox and Tigers all tied up at 2. And Evan Reed inherits a rather complicated situation here. Runner at 3rd with 1 out as Boston looks to take the lead. He's in because some righties are coming up, namely Xander Bogaerts and Dustin Pedroia, and the Tigers obviously are going to have the infield in. Bogaerts 2 strikeouts and a walk, but a hot hitter. Lately hitting .353 in his last 25 games coming into this one.
And I'm sure very happy he's not facing Anibal Sanchez again.
Holt to go ahead run at 3rd. Good stop there by Avila. What was your mindset in this kind of an at-bat?
Try to get something elevated in the strike zone. Phil Koch getting ready for David Ortiz. But try to get something elevated. You can drive into the outfield. But don't try to lift it. Because a lot of times you try to lift it. To me, it slowed my bat up and I would pop it up to the infield. That's no fun.
Tried to check, and he succeeded. 2 balls, no strikes, and this is part of what makes Bogaerts special at his age. A good eye, a patient hitter, fits right in with the game plan the Red Sox.
Yeah, they just must. You can't teach it. They can say what they want about, or anyone can say what they want about, well, that's the Red Sox way. It's not the Red Sox way. You have to have players that can do it. And it's in you. It's not something you can teach.
3-0. Crowd getting a little restless here with Evan Reed, with Justin Pedroia waiting on deck.
I mean, if you could teach patience and only swinging at strikes, or
make a lot of money.
There wouldn't be so many guys striking out 150 times a year.
Right there for a strike.
And sometimes young pitchers, you see Reed here throwing, that last fastball 98, but he threw 2 breaking balls in this at bat for balls. They need to go in there and go into a pitching machine and hit off 98. See how fun that is.
And Bogaerts had to know he was getting a fastball because Reed hasn't thrown the breaking ball for a strike.
And still hit it foul. Couldn't put it in play.
And he's got to know he's probably going to get another one here, wouldn't you think?
You would think, with what's coming up behind him. And if he throws a slider 3-2 for a strike, you tip your hat to him and say, okay, great job. But you got to pick one or the other. I'm picking 98. Because he doesn't want to bounce this and get past Avila for Holt to score easily. You got to try to make it difficult on the Red Sox scoring here.
Great stop at third. Castellanos will throw him out.
Wow. At those reactions, that ball even bounced up on him, and he still was able to get his glove up to catch it. Yeah, that ball bounced up right there at the end. Brock Holt had designs of trying to run home on that throw, but good decision to stay at third.
So Reed gets the ground ball. Castellanos makes a great play. Now with 2 down, the infield can back up. The batter is Pedroia. Red Sox are now 1 for 6 on the night with runners in scoring position. These are not the kinds of numbers you expect from a Pedroia.
No, and I'm sure that even though I'm pretty certain he's not a guy that looks at stats, he knows. You know, as a player, as a hitter, when you're struggling in a certain situation, you don't have to have someone tell you.
High, ball 2.
That's not the place to pitch him, though.
And look who's next. If Pedroia can get on, that's why Phil Koch's getting ready.
If someone taking his picture and he's smiling at him, it's good to be Poppy. Seventh inning, game on the line. Hey, okay, yeah, sure, I'll pose for you. Beautiful.
Very high, ball 3.
I think he gets nervous.
Ortiz?
No.
Osmus?
Brad Osmus. Doesn't seem like anything phases him.
I got a resting heart rate of like 45.
Yeah. He's probably thinking one more pitch like that and I'm going to have to go out there again.
And he walks him. And Ortiz leaning on his bat. He just waved to Ausmus. He said, "Come on out. I know you're coming." And there's the signal. So the lefty will face the lefty in a key spot here in the 7th inning when we come back. For sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Big moment here in Detroit. With 1st and 3rd, 2 outs. David Ortiz coming up. That means Brad Ausmus wants the lefty, and Phil Koch. He can't wait for the opportunity, correct? He's got to get to the mound as fast as he can. Unfortunately for Koch, hear that noise? That's the noise of a crowd looking at a guy with a 6.41 ERA. He's all fired up to come in. They're not quite as convinced they want him in.
Well, and that's when someone in the Red Sox dugout will have to make the comment, yeah, come on and run in here so we can run you back out.
Koch has handled Ortiz extremely well.
Not so eloquently as I put it.
Yes.
Yeah, 2 for 18 with 4 strikeout. Yeah, that's the way I was thinking.
Remember a couple of years ago, 2012 in the postseason, they were running on fumes down in that pen. He got some saves when Valverde wasn't pitching well. He saved some games for Detroit in October. Didn't have a great year last year and is not off to a good couple of months so far here this year. He can turn those boos to cheers with one big out right here, though. Holt at 3rd, he tripled with 1 out, and out later Pedroia walked. 2-2 tie, 7th inning. As you look at the defense here for the Tigers, with a lefty who can still get it up there pretty good in Koch, obviously you've got to keep Castellanos somewhat close to Holt at 3rd base, but look where Suarez is. Playing over on the left side of the infield. Ortiz doesn't see that very often.
Yeah, very surprising that they're doing that. But you remember his last at bat with the runner on base, and Castellanos had to stay closer, and Ortiz lined out to him.
He checked it, and it's ball 3. There's nobody up in the pen for Detroit. Napoli's on deck. So if Koch loses Ortiz, he faces Napoli.
Who homered his last at bat.
.30 green light, and he's popped it up left side, heading back toward the seats and out of play.
Not surprising at all that he got the green light. This is your guy. This is the guy who's supposed to drive in the big runs, who's supposed to be the clutch player, which he has been throughout his career as a Red Sox. You love it that he's turned him loose 3-0 against a lefty.
All that smiling we saw from Ortiz talking to a fan or whatever before, that looks long gone. Yeah, long gone. Here it comes. Hit it if you can.
Do they have the guts to throw it again, though? I think they do. I think the risk of throwing the slider is too great.
'96.
Stay in school. Yeah, but this is a great battle right here because Phil Koch, the ball's coming out of his hand pretty good, 95, 96 miles an hour. He tried to go away right there to see if Ortiz would leak a little bit middle in after swinging at that last two fastballs that were in on the inner half of the plate. I think if I'm Phil Koch and I can command it, I would throw that fastball again, try to get it in on David Ortiz.
Center field. Jackson back. Has it. Ortiz retired. Koch, a star now in Detroit as he gets Big Papi, and the game is still tied. Good job by Sanchez to get out of trouble.
Pretty fun job. We get to watch the best hitter on the planet, isn't it?
Here's Napoli. Pretty well struck, and it is gone. And welcome back to Detroit, along with John Kruk and Buster Olney. I'm Dan Schulman. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN Radio. Good one. 2-2 tie, bottom 7. Phil Koch just retired. David Ortiz in a fly ball to deep center with 2 men on to preserve the tie. Miguel Cabrera had a good night, but then left with some tightness in his hamstring. Mike Napoli's back off the DL. He homered. Brock Holt continues to swing a hot bat for the Red Sox. And we go to the bottom of the 7th. With 6, 7, 8, Castellanos, Jackson, Avila coming up for the Tigers against John Lackey, who has thrown only 77 pitches through 6 solid innings. And the curveball's inside for ball 1.
The Tigers have been aggressive, and we showed the graphic. John Lackey throws a ton of strikes, pounds of strike zone. Why not swing?
That's a foul ball. A ball and a strike on Castellanos. He's 0 for 2 tonight. The Tigers, after this game, they begin a stretch of 14 consecutive games against division opponents. And with this recent stretch, when they scuffled before these last 2 games, they kind of let everybody else in the division creep back into it. There's a base hit into center field for Castellanos. They open the night just 3.5 ahead of Cleveland atop the American League Central. They had a lead of about 7 when we saw them a few weeks ago. And everybody else in the division is right around the 500 mark. And they play all 4 of them over the next 2 weeks. The White Sox, the Twins, who picked up Kendrys Morales, the Royals, and then the Indians. And this is a pretty interesting division right now. Everybody thinks they got a chance.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago we thought that the Tigers would just run away with it and hide, but that doesn't seem to be their MO. They like to seem to keep people around and make things interesting throughout the summer and into early fall. But the Fighting Francona's off the mat to get back in this thing.
Tito's beat Texas again today, 3-2. Beat up on the Red Sox last week. Beat them 3 in a row. Boston will play Cleveland again next weekend at Fenway. Fouled off, and it's 0-2. The Red Sox will go to Baltimore, begin a series there tomorrow night, and then it's a 4-game series at home against the Indians Thursday through Sunday.
I think his stomach's feeling right now. Can't be good.
To go through a 10-game losing streak and then a 5-game losing streak in the same less than a month, really, because they won 7 between about a 3-week span.
Got to lead to ulcers.
Managing?
Yeah. That's why I've turned down every job that's been offered me.
And you talked about Ausmus, his first year as a manager, how calm he looks. 2-2.
Saw Austin Jackson first swing of this at bat, trying to hit the ball to right field, try to hit behind the runner. Castellanos try to get him to second base if Pedroia can go to his left to field it, or get one in the hole and see if we can get first to third situation here. Now it's 2 strikes. He's protect.
It's a fair ball, and it goes through the wickets. And Bogaerts may have been thinking, what do I do with it, before he actually had it. And everybody is safe.
By watching this play, it looks like Xander Bogaerts was just trying to be way too quick with this ball right here. Watch him how he gets it in his glove and tries to shift it to his hand, and he tried to be too quick. There was no way with the speed of Austin Jackson you're going to get a double play on this ball, but he tried to be too quick. See the head come up before he watches the ball into his throwing hand. And that's just a field thing right there. Shortstop, that's the way you make that turn at shortstop. Third base, you catch it and then take your steps towards second base. There's no way he was getting a double play with Austin Jackson running. So you'd get the first out and get the only out you're going to get in that at bat. Now you're looking at some issues right here because Avila bunts right here. Now you have second and third. You got Suarez up. After that, Rajai Davis, who's had good numbers against John Lackey.
Alex Avila, 1 sacrifice this season, 8 in his career. 0 for 2 tonight with a couple of strikeouts.
Napoli's creeping in.
In the dirt, ball 1. He showed, he pulled back.
So many options now with the 1-0 pitch. Lackey doesn't want to walk him. The last thing he wants to do is walk him. It's still only 1-0, and he can throw any pitch. But when you see how quick Mike Napoli is crashing in on this play, Vilas has that ability to pull the ball. It wouldn't surprise me if Brad Ausmus let Avila cut it loose right here.
Ball 2. Activity now in the Red Sox bullpen. Right-hander Junichi Tozawa. The Red Sox had their opportunity to take the lead in the top half of the 7th. Phil Koch with a big out to get David Ortiz to end the inning. Now the Tigers with a great opportunity that's been presented to them in the bottom half of the 7th. And a strike.
I mean, you see Mike Napoli, look how far he is coming in on this ball, on this expected bunt play. Yeah, he's trying to get the out at third base. He's not trying to make sure he gets the ball and gets one at first and have second and third. For Suarez, he's trying to get the out at third base and still keep the double play in order. I think I turn Avila loose right here and let him swing it. He's crashing way too hard. I know he's trying to bunt it to third, but.
And they were going to turn him loose there. He pulled the bat back.
You see Napoli retreat. Yeah. That's the scariest thing. Even if it's a pitcher like National League and a pitcher turns the bat back and swing. I mentioned it earlier. It's been kind of a tight strike zone. That pitch is, according to K-Zone, out of the strike zone.
Murray may have been yelling at Lackey
and then AJ stepped in for him. You'd rather lose AJ in this game than you would Lackey. Happiest guy in the world right now, Mike Napoli.
Remember, Avila was up in the 3rd inning. Jackson was at second with nobody out. He couldn't get him over. He struck out. He struck out with nobody on base in the 5th. Now a key spot here in the bottom of the 7th.
And with that's why you can't send the runners here expecting to put it in play.
And he takes strike 3 called.
Could have been down a little bit, but again, 2 strikes, way too close to take, especially with the movement on that pitch.
So now Suarez, the rookie, who had an RBI single in the 3rd, grounded out in the 5th, hit his first major league home run last night. This is just his 2nd major league start. Suarez is 22 years of age, from Venezuela. Base hit left field. Castellanos getting the wave, and the Tigers have the lead again. The second RBI single of the night for Suarez.
John Lackey, 1-0 pitch. He's just trying to throw a fastball. The last thing he wants to do is get to the top of the order with the bases loaded. But Suarez, you're talking about a kid. That's a pretty quick bat right there in the key situation in the game. It's a beautiful play, but a great play, too, by Brock Holt to keep the double play in order. And of course, Rajai Davis, a tough guy to double up, but keep this a one-run game. Give your team a chance with 6 outs left in the game.
Is Rajai Davis 0 for 3? Yes, he did, says Adam Hamari, and it's 0-1.
Safety squeeze, I'm hoping. With a runner on third, I hope he's not trying to bunt for a hit there. Of course, Kinser's flied out to deep right field both at bats. Maybe figures if he bunts for a hit, bases loaded, Kinser can hit a sac fly and get another run in. But he has good numbers against Lackey. You want him to swing in the bat. Probably not going to hit into a double play, you wouldn't think, unless he hits a bullet at someone.
Let's go down to Buster.
A few innings ago, Tigers manager Brad Ausmus wouldn't say who his closer would be tonight, but guys, I'm looking in the dugout, and Joe Nathan is still there. So it's probably a pretty good guess after throwing 32 pitches yesterday for Nathan that today could be Jabba Chamberlain if they have the lead.
Nobody is up in the bullpen now, so Koch evidently is going to come out to work the top of the 8th. There's a pitch down and away, or you might see Al Albuquerque if they decide they need another pitcher, and there he is. He just got up and threw his first pitch, so it looks like the game plan would be Albuquerque either to start or when needed in the 8th inning, and then Jabba Chamberlain to close if they have that kind of a situation going into the 9th. Good block there by Pierzynski. 3-1 on Rajai Davis. A run in this inning, a base hit for Castellanos, a critical Bogarts error. So it was first and second, nobody out. Avila struck out, and then Eugenio Suarez with another clutch hit for the Tigers that has given them a 3-2 lead.
Infield back as of right now. You might want to send Suarez and hope Rajai puts it in play.
Fouled off, full count.
They just don't run people, do they?
It's a different game now.
Apparently.
Yeah. And the Tigers run more this year, at least in terms of straight steals, much more than they did last year. Chopper. And a good decision there by Bogarts, because they had nobody if that ball stays fair.
Well, that's a situation that, like you said, Dan, there is nowhere to go with that ball if he tries to catch it. The only chance you have is you hope it goes foul. And, you know, that's one of those things where, as a third baseman, you're trying to read the spin on the ball, see if it's spinning toward foul territory. But also, I'm sure they go out every time they come here first day and roll balls to see how they roll.
Jackson at third, Suarez at first. Full count pitch. Ground ball to second. The tag, the throw, and the double play. And a play maybe for Suarez to learn from in the future. Put the brakes on, make it a little bit tougher on Pedroia. Lackey upset, though. The Red Sox are now trailing. Napoli will lead it off. He's already homered tonight when Boston comes up in the top of the 8th. Welcome back to Detroit, where Mike Napoli is going to lead it off for the Red Sox. Phil Koch on the mound, 3-2 Tigers. 8th inning. Celebrate Sunday all season long with special ticket offers. Head to the ballpark with your friends and family. Go to MLB.com/Sunday. And follow every Major League Baseball game with MLB.com at bat for your mobile device. Get scores, stats, highlights, live audio, and more. Text at bat to 31826 or visit MLB.com for details. So Koch remains on the mound. Napoli is the hitter. Pierzynski and Nava to follow. Albuquerque up in the pen. The Tigers up a run, looking to sweep. And a strike. So Koch stays in spite of Napoli's presence because Pierzynski's a lefty. Nava's a switch hitter who's weaker from the right side. Drew's a lefty.
It's interesting when Phil Koch first entered the game with the adrenaline pumping with the bases loaded and David Ortiz hit. He was 95, 96. First two to Mike Napoli were 92, 91, 92. Issues.
Slider, 1-2.
Maybe that's why.
The Red Sox down near the bottom of the American League in runs scored. Entered today tied for 11th in the American League out of 15 teams in runs per game. You have to go back to 2000 to see them that low in that category. Hot shot off the body of Castellanos, and Napoli's going to be safe.
Yeah, that's a ball right there. They just ate up Castellanos. That's a do or die play. It's hit so hard you either make it or you don't. That's one thing, he kept it in front of him.
What do you think about a pinch runner here?
It's surprising. I would think this 8th inning, and I never understood it. Like, a lot of managers will wait to see if he gets in scoring position before they. But, you know, AJ hits one in, or the same ball he hit the last time, it drops. Of course, it was a ground rule double. If it stays in play, Napoli might not score on that play, where someone with more speed might score.
You still don't have the scoring, by the way, on the Napoli play. I'm assuming it's a hit, but don't have it. Do you think it's an error?
I think so.
Yep. I'm giving him top spin and tricky hop benefit of the doubt.
At 120 miles an hour, you can't read that.
It is a hit.
That'd have been a bad scorekeeper.
And a 2-0 count now on Pierzynski. Remember, they booed Koch when he came in. They cheered him loudly off the field after he got Ortiz.
If he throws a fastball into AJ's going to get out in front of and try to hit that hole. Try to get Napoli to third base. One thing you can't rule out against is a veteran guy. Of course, they're going away.
Runner goes. Pitch swung on and missed. Throw down, and safe at second is Napoli. Talk about the element of surprise right there.
Wow. Who would have guessed that? 2-0. They had the perfect pitch, too. Pitch away. AJ had to swing. Like it was a hit and run.
Not surprisingly, that's the first steal this season for Napoli.
You see Napoli running. He does look back, so it is a hit and run situation, but the pitch was too far out over the plate for AJ to get a piece of it. We were talking about pinch running for the man just stole a base. How dare you? Now if they pinch run for him, now you got a story. Pinch run for a guy just stole second.
Almost a year ago, June 12th of last season, his last steal. Hot shot to third. Castellanos looks the runner back, throws him out. And Phil Koch was sprinting over to third to make sure somebody was there because Castellanos was so far off the bag, just in case Napoli really got frisky. So 1 out. The potential tying run at second here in the 8th inning, and the batter is Nava, 1 for 3.
He's got to pull that ball. You know, he's been around long enough. He knows that his job was to get Mike Napoli to third base, and he didn't do it.
Nava, as a right-handed batter this year, 2 for 26.
We haven't seen great execution this game, have we, by either team?
Moving runners, especially on both sides. Yep. Red Sox are just 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position tonight. Down 3-2, out hitting the Tigers 8-7. Each team's committed an error. The Red Sox have left 8, the Tigers 4. And a bouncer to short. 2 down. Suarez thought about going to third, decided to make the safe play and take the out at first.
It's a pretty smart play by the young man. He knows if he throws that, Napoli's a veteran base runner who probably made a little wider of a turn to try to get a more difficult angle for Suarez to make this throw. You see Napoli on second base. He has to hesitate a little bit. If he wanted to throw it to third, he had a chance of getting him, but the risk of throwing for a tag play is a lot different than getting the easy out at first base. You see Napoli, you see him start to make that little turn to make a throw a little more difficult for Suarez to hit Castellanos at third base. So he said, you know what, I'm going to get the out, 2 outs, make a 2-out hit, beat us.
So now a pinch hitter for Stephen Drew. It'll be Jonathan Herrera. Herrera is a switch hitter. Johnny Gomes.
Well, I think if they bring in Johnny Gomes and Brad Osmus goes right to the bullpen.
Yeah.
You know, this way you bring in a switch hitter, there's nowhere for him to go, so you just leave Koch out there and it speeds the game up, Dan.
Base hit ties it. A strike taken. Herrera on the season is hitting .250. From the right side, he's hitting .286, 6 for 21.
Small sample size,
yes.
6 for 21. But you see where the infielders are playing. Kelly, Castellanos, they're all in. They're both in, playing for a possible bunt by Herrera.
A big spot here for Koch. Came in a tough spot in the 7th, got out of it. Trying to subdue the Red Sox in the 8th and preserve the 1-run lead. And he hit him in the leg.
That's one of those. He's a hitter. You hope you get out of the way because there's no way Avila was going to catch that one. You're looking at a tie game. Apparently, Koch just wanted to get to the lefty.
So Jackie Bradley is that lefty. There's another one on deck, and Brock Holt. So Koch, he stays because Brad Osmus wants the lefty advantage here, theoretical advantage. Now Jeff Jones, the pitching coach, will make his way out to the mound. For those of you looking for Sports Center, it's currently airing over on ESPN News. We are here at Comerica Park in Detroit with the Tigers leading the Red Sox 3-2 in the 8th inning, trying to sweep the series and send the Red Sox to their 6th consecutive loss. Post-game coverage of NBA Finals Game 2 on Sports Center over on ESPN News as Miami had a big night. LeBron, if he get 35, and the Heat have evened up the series at a win apiece.
No cramps.
No cramps tonight, evidently. Now, if you're Coke, you don't want to have anything to do with Brock Holt right now. The way he's swinging the bat, this is the guy you got to get.
That's why Jeff Jones went out to the mound. He's, this is the guy. We'll let whoever's closing for us in the ninth worry about Brock Holt, but we don't want no part of him in this inning with runners in scoring position. Remember the last at bat, Jackie Bradley against Coke. Coke threw him fastballs up and in to get him to swing through them.
Bradley tonight has singled and scored and struck out twice. Outside, ball one. Napoli's at third. Herrera's at first. Tigers just took the lead in the bottom of the seventh. The Red Sox trying to get that run back here in the eighth.
Pretty big swing for Jackie Bradley. He's got some pop, but not a lot. So you cut down the swing. More contact would be, especially in this situation right here. All you want to do is get something into the outfield, on the ground in the outfield.
One and two. And they're going to get on their feet again here in Detroit. Adrenaline kicked it up to 95, but also took it out of the strike zone.
Yeah, that'll usually what happens when you try to overthrow one. You'll cast it a little high.
He's an adrenaline guy, too.
Yeah, if he can throw a slider right here, he's got a really good chance. Johnny Gomes there thinking he might have been hitting here. If you're Jackie Bradley, that's the one. You miss that one. You got a feeling you aren't going to get another one center cut. And his pitches. But again, you see the swing. It's more of a pull swing. Yesterday, he had a base hit the other way to drive in a run. It looks like now with late in the game, he's trying to hit a homer.
Almost hit him as the breaking ball slipped out of his hand.
It's a slider. He let go of a tad too soon.
Full counts now on Bradley. That means that Herrera will be on the move from first.
And if he doesn't get a fastball right here, then there's something wrong in this world, Dan. Jackie Bradley better be dialed up and tone down the swing.
Coke hangs on to the lead as he strikes out Bradley. 3-2 Tigers going bottom eight. Baseball on ESPN, presented by Taco Bell with John Kruk, Buster Olney. I'm Dan Schulman. A 3-2 lead for the Tigers over the Red Sox. And Jonathan Herrera stays in the game at short for Boston after pinch hitting for Stephen Drew. Ian Kinsler leads off the inning for the Tigers. He'll be followed by Don Kelly, who came on for an injured Miguel Cabrera. Cabrera left with some tightness in his hamstring, listed as day-to-day, and then Victor Martinez. Meanwhile, Jabba Chamberlain is up in the pen. If you weren't with us an inning ago, Buster told us 32 pitches for Joe Nathan last night. Really struggling lately. Also pitched Friday. So Jabba Chamberlain, who's been on a real roll, will get a chance to close the game tonight for the Tigers. Lackey's still in the game here in the 8th inning. 103 pitches on the wrong end of a 3-2 score, but has pitched well. Remember, there was an error last inning. That was on Bogaerts, and that led to an unearned run. That is the difference in the game right now. Sharply hit, but right at Dustin Pedroia. Coming up next on SportsCenter, post-game reaction from San Antonio, where Miami has even up the finals at a win apiece. The bench is clear in Baltimore. Manny Machado in the middle of it again. Dale Jr. clinches a spot in the chase. I just saw a bit of the highlights, for lack of a better term, from the Oakland-Baltimore game. And Manny Machado swung deliberately late, it sure looked like, and released the bat. Remember, this goes back earlier in this series. Donaldson tagged him harder than he would like. Then they threw at Donaldson a little bit. No love lost between these two teams. But you can't be intentionally firing bats around the ball.
No, and I'm sure there's going to be a suspension of some sort. How many games? Who knows? Yeah, it's disappointing because he's such a great young player that you hate to see this kind of mark go on him right now as a guy. But I played with a guy in Dickie Thon who got hit in the eye with a pitch, and Dickey was very sensitive to anyone throwing up and in on him. But Manny Machado, the first pitch in that at bat was a pitch down and in, around the knee area, and then the next pitch was when this all came about. But I know Buck Showalter well enough to know he's going to have a talk with him, and going to tell him, how we've missed you the first month of the season. Now we're going to. We might miss you some more. Right. And you're going to hurt us.
And it seems like it obviously goes back to Machado had a serious knee injury, had surgery. And when Donaldson tagged him in the play between second and third, I guess, maybe Machado's thinking, hey, I'm just coming off surgery here. And Machado seemed to take exception to how hard Donaldson tagged him.
Yeah. But you know what? That's baseball.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
You can't, but here's the thing. The people in Baltimore, the Orioles players, his teammates, they understand what he went through. The Oakland A's could care less what he went through. Any team in baseball could care less what he went through. You have to expect, he didn't tag him hard because he had a bad knee or he's coming back from a surgically repaired knee.
Right.
It's just the way the game's played. You can't take things personal.
Lifted in the air to left center. And it'll be Holt there, 2 down. Buster, what have you heard about that situation?
Well, 2 innings before that incident happened today, Manny Machado twice had hit the catcher with backswings. The Oakland Athletics reportedly were upset that he didn't express any remorse. He didn't acknowledge the catcher getting hit in any way. And you asked about the suspension. There actually is some precedent. In 2002, Trot Nixon got 4 games of a suspension when he threw a bat at Ryan Roop of the Tampa Bay Rays.
Boy, I would think if you get off with 4 for that, you got to consider yourself pretty lucky. That feels like a 10.
Yeah, but remember when pitchers, when they thought hit a guy intentionally, they got 4 games or 3 games. Now that they're getting ramped up now.
Now a starter will get 6 just to make sure that he misses the start. But
and
I don't see why throwing a bat intentionally at somebody should be any less than throwing a ball.
No.
And a bouncing ball to second. Victor Martinez is retired to end the inning. We will go to the ninth with a 3-2 lead for the Tigers, and Jabba Chamberlain looks like he's going to get the call to try to close it and complete the sweep. All is presented by Taco Bell Breakfast. Wake up, live Moss. And in part by DXL, all the best men's brands, waist size 38 and up. DXL, you're looking good. Ninth inning in Detroit. It's Jabba time. Jabba Chamberlain, who has 2 saves this year, and it was pitched extremely well for the Tigers, a 2.39 ERA and 28 appearances, is in to try to nail down a sweep here for the Tigers. They are up 3-2 on the Red Sox. An unearned run is the difference. No Joe Nathan tonight, struggling and threw 32 pitches in last night's game, so he gets the night off. And Chamberlain is on a streak, Crucky, of 12 consecutive scoreless outings. He will face, as Nathan looks on, the top of the order: Holt, Bogarts, Pedroia, and then potentially Ortiz.
And I'm sure Ortiz was chomping at the bit to get another shot at this one with a chance to tie it or win it or put the Red Sox ahead. I think Jabba Chamberlain, to get back to him, Dan, I think it was a blessing for him to get away from New York, get away from that fishbowl where every move he made was critiqued, and now he's in Detroit where he can just be himself.
A strike. Holt tonight is 3 for 4, has raised his average up to .333. Had a triple his last time up. Loss tonight would be 6 in a row for the Red Sox, and would mean that every team in the American League East would have lost today. A win for the Tigers would restore their 4-game advantage over the Indians. Cleveland beating Texas earlier today. Bogarts on deck, Pedroia to follow. Chopped up the middle, and it's going to get through for the 4th hit of the game for Brock Holt.
The guy's done everything offensively, defensively, first start in left field. This is something he didn't forget to do once he moved to the outfield for this one game, is get base hits. That big double off Coke. Look at these defensive play right here to save a run or two. Unbelievable game by Brock holding this one. And then leading off the ninth inning, one-run game. Bouncer up the middle. Suarez, even if he comes up with that ball in the slide, had no chance at the speedy Brock Holt. You know, most closers, and I know Job is not the normal closer, most closers don't hold guys on too well.
Now Xander Bogaerts. And a swing and a miss 0-1. If you're wondering, Bogaerts does not have a sacrifice this season.
Jabba throws a lot of sliders to right-handed hitters, so if you're Brock Holt, you know, you might want to take a shot right here. 0-1, probably not a good time to go. There's the potential of a pitch out, but Jabba's not very quick to home plate. That's the old hold it until someone calls time. No matter who it is, someone just do it. He had no design on throwing that pitch toward home, just right there.
Oh, pretty good speed at first. Leadoff man aboard, down a run, top of the ninth. Now he squares and bunts it hard and foul. And the count is 0-2.
He bunts that fair. That might be a double, possible triple. That's what you call squaring up a bunt. And now you go to your scouting report. Does Jabba 0-2 try to bury you with the slider? If so, Brock Holt can run. I think he throws him a slider here. Usually a telltale sign to throw over. Catcher gives you a sign to throw over. That means he wants to throw the breaking pitch. At least my base stealing expertise told me that.
He threw him a slider and he threw him one he's lucky to get back.
Yeah.
It was nowhere near down and away where Avila wanted it. Not a good 0-2 pitch.
Now this could be a situation where they could pitch out. He already threw a bad slider. Last thing you want to do is seem to throw another one. And Brock Holt might be thinking, oh, okay, he's trying to get him out with a slider. Maybe now I can run. The cat and mouse game.
Waves at it and he's gone.
I mean, that's it's not a very good swing right there, 0-2, but it just shows you how good Java's slider has been this season for the Detroit Tigers. I mean, if you're Bogart, he's sitting dead red. He thought, okay, he's got to throw. I just hooked an 0-2 pitch foul. He's got to throw me a fastball.
Now Pedroia 11 for 26 in his career against Chamberlain.
Throw over, slider. And if I'm Brock Holt, I'm still running. I mean, I'm trying to run. You know, they're not going to pitch around or Pedroia with those numbers against Jabba to face Ortiz.
Would they guess and pitch out?
I think he throws a slider. He's going to try to throw a slider and bounce it.
Not going. And a strike. You played this game.
Well, I guess they're waiting for the pitch out, or maybe they've struggled so much they're afraid, well, if he gets thrown out, how's that going to look? But you know what? You're pressing the issue. You're giving your team a chance. I know they want Ortiz to hit with a chance.
Another slider, 0-2.
And I think the worry is if Brock Holt steals second base and Pedroia doesn't get on base, then they're just going to walk Ortiz.
Right.
But he hit the line drive to center field off Phil Koch. He hit the ball hard. Ortiz did. Napoli to me has had better at bats. And you never, ever, ever want to take the bat out of David Ortiz's hand. You want to get the guy in scoring position.
Missed away with a slider. What's that, 11 pitches, about 9 of them sliders since he came into the game?
Yeah, his arm's going to be crooked before this one's over. I mean, it's interesting. You watch third base coach Brian Butterfield. He's not even giving signs. I think that just, Brock Holt has a green light whenever you think you can go. With 2 strikes, you're not going to get Pedroia's sign.
Two and two. Each team scored in the third. Tigers won in the fourth. Red Sox tied in the sixth. Tigers took the lead in the seventh. Boston's lost 5 in a row. Tigers looking to sweep them for the second time this year.
I had read John Farrell's lips there telling Torey Lovullo. He said he could steal that base whenever he wants. It looked like that's what he said. But again, he's a young player. The last thing he wants to do is get thrown out in the 9th inning behind 1 run. But he's done everything else so well, he might as well steal a base. Maybe he figures left fielders don't steal bases. I don't know, Dan.
4-hit night for Holt. Tying run at first, 1 out of the 9th inning.
Of course, he did hit a triple and didn't score. Maybe he figures he can score from first on his Pedroia double down the line.
Fouled off on yet another slider. Pedroia has not seen a fastball. Right off the inside of the knee.
Maybe a little higher.
A little higher?
Maybe a little higher, yeah. Mid-thigh.
Ortiz waiting. Missed. Just missed with yet another slider, and it's 3-2.
Jabba right here, just slider and slider and slider. That is an absolute perfect take by Dustin Pedroia. That's a pitch right there. It's hard to do anything with. If you hit it anywhere at all, you're probably going to hit a ground ball to the shortstop. Now 3-2. If Brock Holt doesn't run here, I might quit my job. Pedroia, you got to figure he's going to put it in play. Oh my goodness.
He's not running, and it's ball 4. So the tying run pushed up to second, and here comes Big Papi.
Made a lot of people happy. I quit.
Can you at least finish? Can you finish out tonight at least?
Well, you got it. Maybe Verlander will come up and do an inning.
Ortiz is 0 for 4. He's 6 for 21 in his career with a homer against Chamberlain.
There might not be a free agent closer come to Detroit ever again.
Nathan looking on. Chamberlain getting the opportunity to close. The Red Sox have had their chances, Crucky. They're 1 for 11 tonight with runners in scoring position. Ortiz trying to change all that with one swing of the bat.
I mean, if I'm David Ortiz, I'm thinking slider. 99.9% of his pitches since he's come in have been sliders. What, 15 out of 16? That's where Don Kelly has to be really aware.
Fastball, and he's late on it, 1-1.
Because he's sitting on a slider. Yeah, Ian Kinsler has to be aware. Make sure Don Kelly knows what pitch is coming, because the last thing you want to do is for Ortiz to hit one down the right field line and score not only Brock Holt but Pedroia to give him the lead.
Pretty good speed at both first and second for the Red Sox here in the 9th inning.
Little spark, he's fading off here.
He is.
He doesn't know what he's in for.
Yeah. 1-1. And a high fly ball to right field, and David Ortiz has hit it out. There goes the scoreless streak. There goes the lead. You talk about a team in need of a hit, and guess who delivered again?
Yeah, their most clutch hitter for the last however many years, and this was a no doubter.
Five-3 Red Sox, ninth inning. Ortiz stunning the crowd here and driving many of them up the aisles.
Wow. Fans are leaving. Apparently they're not thinking pretty good offense the Tigers have, don't they? I thought. What are we leaving for?
Jabba Chamberlain blows the save, and as you might expect, Koji Uehara is now up in the Boston pen. They're speechless. This is a big quiet ballpark right now. There's a base hit for Napoli. So he comes back with a 3-for-4 night.
You saw how Anibal Sanchez got David Ortiz out. Fastballs, changeups, everything else. You know, Jabba threw him one fastball that he was late on and fouled over the third base dugout, and then he sped his bat up with a changeup right there, or with a slider, and that's just a. I'm never been big on admiring home runs by a player, but admire that one.
That's a long way up the bleachers in this ballpark as Joe Nathan looks on from the dugout. The ninth inning has been a problem for the Tigers.
For how many years? It's amazing.
Fouled back left side by Pierzynski. Corey Knebel is now up in the Tigers pen.
The thing you have to remember here too, it's a 5-3 game. It's still manageable for Detroit. You know, Jabba has to try to button this thing down right here after giving up the lead. And
there's been a lot of that going on the Red Sox side this season. 7 games under 500, 4th place in their division. Got a chance to pick up a game on everybody in the division if they can hang on to this lead. Everybody else lost. Well, he does like the moment, doesn't he?
Well, you're not called Big Poppy for unless you've done something pretty good. This isn't his first rodeo in the 9th hitting a homer.
No, not the first time that he's hit a home run that broke the hearts of Tiger fans either.
No.
Another throw over.
His MO has been throw over, throw a slider, throw over, throw a slider. Think AJ is paying attention? Guess what's coming?
Slider.
maybe he's a hitter you just can't convince yourself to look for. Like, he can't do this every time.
In the 9th inning of games this year, Crookie, the Tigers have been outscored 46-23. They've given up 46 runs in the 9th inning this year. There's a bouncing ball to second. That's one. That's two. But David Ortiz launched one. A 3-run home run off Jabba Chamberlain. And the Red Sox take the lead to the bottom of the 9th. Up 5-3 here in Detroit. This game around with a 3-run home run off Jabba Chamberlain. The Red Sox are up 5-3. And that means it'll be Hunter, Castellanos, and Jackson. 5, 6, 7 for Detroit. A dismayed Chamberlain looking on from the dugout. And here comes one of the surest bets in baseball over the last couple of years. Koji Uehara, who has not pitched since Wednesday, who has not blown a save all year, who has 14 consecutive scoreless appearances. Then again, Jabba had 12 coming in, and has a strikeout walk ratio of 9-1.
So what you're trying to say is, hello, 15th inning.
Hunter's 0 for 3.
He doesn't have it.
He is a strike machine.
Yeah, this is one of those situations, down 2 runs, you think, okay, we have to take a strike, make him throw it in the zone. But you mentioned it, Uehara is a guy that pounds the strike zone, and of course he's down 2-0 right out of the gate, which bodes well if you're a Tigers fan.
High fly ball to center, deep but playable. 1 down. If you go back to late June of last season, Koji Uehara has been on a roll that is really not only impressive, I mean, virtually unprecedented. Look at the ERA. Look at the walks to strikeouts. 111-6. Almost over a year.
It's a pretty good ratio. Yeah, that's and think about where the Red Sox would have been without him. How many teams can lose 2 closers and win a world championship?
Yep. And he's doing it at 88 miles an hour.
And throwing it by people at 88.
Yeah. That helps. Yeah.
The old equalizer.
Yeah.
But you see what he did, though. He got behind Torrey 2-0 with 2 fastballs. He threw him another one 2-0. Okay, if you hit it 9 miles, it's 2-1, or it's a 1-run game. We still have a lead. But I'm not going to walk you. And he made him hit it to the deepest part of the field, where their best outfielder plays. Just an intelligent man to figure all that out in one pitch.
How about John Lackey hanging around long enough to maybe get a win after everything that happened tonight? And drops low, 2-2.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. Lackey pitched great, though. Minimize his pitch count. Tigers were aggressive early in the count on him. Gets through 8 innings. Looks like they drew it up. 8 innings. Poppy hits a 3-run homer. And Uehara comes in and hopefully shuts the door.
Great play by Bogaerts. 2 down.
If you notice the reaction plays at third base, he's made 2 pretty good ones, and the one that's a slower roller that he tried to turn a double play on, he couldn't come up with it. Yeah, there's just nothing. The only way you catch that's with athleticism. This guy ain't been out there since Wednesday. He got excited, and he should.
So deep fly to center, a hard hit ground ball to third. That's 2 outs. And here's Austin Jackson. 1 week from tonight will be at Turner Field in Atlanta. The Braves hosting the Angels next week on Sunday Night Baseball. Hey. 1-1.
Many guys, I'm sure you can hear it. We hear it. He's grunting at 88.
Yeah.
Now no one grunted at 100. Koji's fired up there at 88 with the grunt.
And the ball game is over. A screaming liner down to third. Bogaerts with another good play. And the Red Sox come back and stun the Tigers 5-3. Uehara the save, Lackey the win, and David Ortiz with yet another big hit for the Red Sox. A 3-run home run off Jabba Chamberlain in the 9th inning as Boston salvages the final game of the series with a 5-3 win. And boy, did they need it. They had lost 5 in a row.
Yes.
This is you never know what tomorrow brings, but this is the kind of game you may look back on later on in the season and say that helped turn them around a little bit.
It was a way, John Lackey battled through 8 innings, pitched great, I thought, but when in times of desperation, when you desperately need a win, David Ortiz is that guy you turn to, and he came up big again.
And David Ortiz is with Buster Olney.
David, you come up in the 9th inning, Jabba Chamberlain throwing a lot of sliders. What was your plan?
Looking for a slider. He loved throwing the slider. And I having a bad against him the other day. I've been facing Chava a lot, at some point he's gonna throw it to you. He threw me a fastball, and I was a little late on it, but it was on. That's why I swung at it. But yeah, I was trying to get the slider.
Describe what it's like to hit a ball that far in that type of situation.
Oh man, it feels good, especially not only in the situation that we've been facing. We haven't been able to win a ball game. I mean, we've been struggling, and that's put us ahead in the situation. It's pretty cool.
What does it mean, the lineup behind you, to have Mike Napoli back?
Well, Nap, I mean, I was very surprised the way he came out swinging. He spent a couple of weeks in the DL, and his swing looked pretty good. He was bothering him. He was getting bothered by that finger that he hurt in Chicago, and he was trying to play through it. And that finger just got big, and I even told myself to him, I told him, hey, take a break,
What do you think about Brock Holt?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, he's the kind of guy that bring a lot to this ball club. You know, we need guys to step up, guy like him to come up and do what he's been doing. It's incredible.
David, thanks. Dan, back to you.
Yeah, Brock Holt, John Lackey, Koji Uehara, Mike Napoli, David Ortiz, a lot of contributors for the Red Sox tonight as they pick up a win with a late rally on that home run, beating Detroit 5-3 here at Comerica Park. Sports Center is next here on ESPN. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For John Kruk, Buster Olney, and our entire crew, I'm Dan Schulman saying so long from Detroit.